This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
We're done with Stern. We're done with Colbert. We're on to Sid Rosenberg. This is what we want. This is what the people want, Sid. Come on.
President Trump gearing up for his meeting with Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Trump announced this year's Kennedy Center honorees. Erica Brown is live at Capitol Hill with more. Erica.
President Trump discussed that high-stakes face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin on Friday just after his Kennedy Center announcement. Now, this will be the first time that Putin has visited the United States in about a decade, and the White House says the president wants to meet to see if Putin is serious about a peace deal. After taking over as chairman of the Kennedy Center earlier this year, President Trump himself announced this year's honorees.
The 48th Kennedy Center honorees are outstanding people, outstanding group, incredible.
The president named country music star George Strait, Rocky actor Sylvester Stallone, singer Gloria Gaynor, the rock band Kiss, and actor-singer Michael Crawford. The president, who will host the award show that airs on CBS in December, said he was very involved in the selection of this year's artists.
I turned down plenty. They were too woke. I had a couple of wokesters.
Earlier in the day, President Trump held a call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders ahead of Friday's high-stakes meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss ending the war in Ukraine.
It's going to be a very important meeting, but it's setting the table for the second meeting. I think the second meeting, if the second meeting takes place.
The president said if his meeting with Putin goes well in Alaska, he'll quickly set up a meeting with both Zelensky and Putin. Zelensky said he told President Trump that Putin is bluffing.
Every time President Trump has said, I'm getting tired, I feel like I'm being played by Putin, Putin has done something to extend the time, to give him more space, to go on the offense in Ukraine.
President Trump warned Wednesday that there will be severe consequences if Russia doesn't agree to stop the war after Friday's meeting, but did not elaborate.
Face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
There will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences, yes.
Now, President Zelensky says that he told President Trump he hopes an immediate ceasefire will be among the topics of discussion during Friday's meeting.
You guys know that I went to Gracie Mansion on Friday, and the mayor, Eric Adams, who's a good guy, was kind enough to meet with me, even though he heard me say some rough stuff. And we had a really good conversation, and now, 5 days later, he's in my studio. So we go from not talking for a year and a half, and now we're together twice in 5 days. So I guess we'll go to Vegas next, right? How are you, Mr. Mayor?
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
But not in New York. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to get to, and you got to run a city, so you got to go, I'm sure, at some point. For about 18 months, I was pissed. But we spoke about this on Friday, and you brought up a pretty good point. You said, well, let me ask you this. All the politicians, all the people in New York City, does anybody else do more for the Jewish people? Does anybody else say more? Now, look, what I said to you was, that's like winning a beauty contest in a leper colony. That doesn't mean you did great because the rest suck, to be completely honest. But compared to them, yes. So when I say I was disappointed, you say what? I was angry, actually. You say what?
No, and I think it's not that I did great in comparison to everyone else. I did great because I did great. I was in the streets at some of these demonstrations and marches, communicating with our commanders and telling them what my expectations were. When we had to make arrests, we made arrests. When people told me don't do the Israeli Day Parade because it would be too dangerous, I said that's not acceptable. And we would not run for fear, and we're not going to have anyone disrupt our life here in the city. Not only the Israeli Day Parade, but also there were times I went up to Columbia, I went up to NYU. We communicated with the school officials and told them we should be moving in right away to disband the encampments, to disband the actions of those who want to protest.
Yes, and this is the one time I actually did yell at you on Friday when I said to you, you may have done all that, okay? But let's be honest, Eric, if the KKK was on that lawn and they were terrorizing black students, okay? Last I checked, you're a black guy. They were terrorizing black students, and it wasn't Hamas terrorizing Jews. You will never be able to convince me. Even now, you're not going to be able to. You were going to wait for a call from the president to go in there. You would have gone in there with guns blazing if the KKK was terrorizing black students.
No, I would not.
Come on. Eric, come on.
How'd it go with Sid this morning?
Every time we do an interview, it goes well, And I'm gonna give a straight answer. We're the same people in the mindset of being honest with each other.
All right, now to the race for New York City Mayor. Frontrunner Zohran Mamdani was met by hostile voters on Staten Island. This while Mayor Adams received a key endorsement in his bid for re-election. Fox Eye's Morgan McKay joins us now with the very latest. Morgan?
Hey, Natasha and Bianca. So former Governor David Patterson endorsed Mayor Eric Adams in the mayor's race. Patterson endorsed Adams when he was running in 2021, but then decided to back former Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary, despite their rocky relationship. After Cuomo chose to still run as an independent, despite his double-digit loss in the primary, Patterson then called on Cuomo and Adams to decide who should drop out of the race in order to give one of the candidates a better chance at beating the Democratic nominee, Zohran Mamdani. When neither budged, Patterson said he decided to throw his support again behind Adams, saying he has already proven that he knows how to run the city. Patterson said Mamdani has some interesting ideas, but argued that he doesn't have a financial plan to back them. We asked Patterson if he thinks Cuomo should drop out of the race.
I am not suggesting that a person that has raised a lot of money, has put his blood, sweat, and tears into a race, and wants to continue the race. And I could not look that person in the eye and tell them to get out. All I'm going to say is, if one of the other candidates did get out, and it would become a one-on-one contest between the mayor and Mr. Forest Fire, Mr. Mamdani, I think the mayor would win.
Meanwhile, Mamdani continued his 5-borough tour, making a stop on Staten Island where he was met with protesters. Mamdani was there to call out what he says are President Donald Trump's attacks on immigrant communities. But protesters were waiting for him outside, calling Mamdani a commie and chanted at him to go home. They were also holding Trump signs and signs for the Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa.
Let's not forget 9/11.
It saddens me to hear language of being told to go back where I came from, and yet I will not let it dissuade me from continuing to come to Staten Island, from continuing to speak to New Yorkers no matter where they live, no matter what politics they have.
Meanwhile, Cuomo's team has been continuing his online campaign, posting to social media nonstop, but Cuomo has not held any public events this week.
Curtis is on my radio show 3 times a week. He'll be on tomorrow. But there's no reason to believe right now, as sad as it seems, this guy's not going to win. Curtis has a very difficult battle. The fact is Republicans don't fare well in New York. Got to go back to Rudy Giuliani and Mike Bloomberg and Governor Pataki. That's a long time ago, Brian. And this guy's taking these boroughs by storm. I mean, it's not like he's just showing up. The enthusiasm for this guy is through the roof. Now, I agree with Scott. It'll come down to Mamdani versus Sliwa. But a betting man would have to take Mamdani in that. Cuomo and Adams will eat each other alive. Mamdani versus Sliwa. My heart wants Sliwa. New York should want Sliwa, but right now there is no logical reason to believe this animal, he's an animal, is not going to win. Today's Open, which included a lot of important stuff, right? Trump and Putin, that's coming up tomorrow. We'll see where that goes. Trump announcing the 48th annual Kennedy Center honorees. Not exactly a very impressive bunch, I got to be honest. I mean, I love Sly. Sylvester Stallone had the chance to meet and take a great picture with Sly at Mar-a-Lago back in December. Sly's a legitimate American hero. He's an icon. But the rest of this group, I don't know. George Strait. I mean, I'm not going to deny his success, but doesn't do it for me. Kiss? I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Kiss. Christine, 16, Detroit Rock City. But Gene Simmons is one of the biggest douchebags God ever created, let's be honest. So Kiss, I mean, I don't know. Gloria Gaynor? I know we all love the song I Will Survive, but... And then some guy I don't even know, I hate to say it, he's probably very, very famous, Michael Crawford? I mean, if you're Trump, it's got to be a better list than that, no? Anyway, that was the beginning.
Well, it was about time some of the members of KISS actually did get the recognition that we so well deserved.
That's pretty good, Gene. That's pretty good.
It all depends upon the prism of how you look through music. And I think Mr. President Trump has gotten it correct once again.
They convinced me and Bernard, my old partner there, God rest his soul, Bernie, I still love and miss you, to bring Simmons into studio a couple of times. This is like circa 2018. He wrote a book, and I think it's called 27. The book was about all the stars, all the musical stars. This is unbelievable. They all died at the age of 27. 27. That's the book Gene Simmons from KISS wrote. So you got, for example, Morrison from The Doors, 27. Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, 27. You've got Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Amy Winehouse. But the list goes on and on. There's like 20 of them. They all died at the exact age of 27. So if you're out there right now and you're a music star and you're a druggie, and you just turned 28, I think you're going to be okay. Yeah. But anyway, that's Trump's list. Then we went to the Mayor Adams in studio yesterday. And then Mamdani on Staten Island yesterday. Congratulations to the great artist and activist, my dear friend Scott Lebedo, who made life really miserable for Mamdani on Staten Island yesterday. In fact, he did such a really good job that Fox News put Lebedo on last night. So here's what happens. So the Laura Ingraham does the Ingraham Angle. You know that show. It's a huge success. She's on right after Brett Baer, who's on at 6, and right before Jesse Waters, who's on at 8. She's on 7 p.m. every weeknight on Fox News, but she's on vacation. Both Ingraham and Jesse Waters are on vacation, so my man Brian Kilmeade, who does every show on Fox News, every show, he filled in last night for Laura, and I think Rachel Campos Duffy, filled in for Jesse. So I get a text yesterday afternoon from my friend JJ. JJ works on the Laura Ingraham show. And she's invited me once before, but you may remember a couple of weeks ago, I'm in the truck right outside of Daniel Penny's gala, and the audio died on me. So I never got on. But JJ was great, and Whitney was great. They're all great. So I said to JJ, I said, last time we did this, it didn't happen. So if you're going to provide the truck, please make sure it happens. He said, Sid, we're going to do this. So Kilmeade fills in for Laura, and he decides he's going to put together a 2-person panel, Scott Lebedo, who was on Staten Island yesterday, and me. Me because there is nobody in this city, at least according to Kilmeade, that knows more about this mayor's race than I do. In fact, he even said, he goes, when he was introducing me on television, 2 million plus viewers last night, he goes, Adams is wooing you. Cuomo is wooing you. Curtis is your guy. Tell me what you know. And we got into it, obviously. Lebedo, they showed the videos, and Lebedo was all red hot. And it turned out to be a great appearance on Fox News last night. And you heard how it ended. So he asked me after Scott, he asked Scott, he goes, is Mamdani going to win? And Scott says, no, he's not going to win. He's not going to win. Curtis is going to win. New Yorkers are going to wake up. They're going to figure it out, their pocketbooks. And he gave a couple of very good reasons why he thought Mamdani was not going to win. And then Kilmeade decided to end the show with my opinion. And he said, is Scott right? And you heard the audio. I said, no, he's not right. I said, right now, if the election is today, and Curtis is on this show 3 days a week, folks. All you guys in the audience who think you're close with Curtis, you're not even on the same level as me, okay? Calm yourselves. Calm down. Curtis knows everything I say and almost never disagrees. And I think if Curtis was being honest, and you guys are, if the election is today, Noam, who's the mayor?
Zohran Mamdani.
Lewis, who's the mayor?
Yeah, definitely him. He's in the lead.
Okay, he's in the lead by a mile, and as I talked about on Fox News last night, he's got enthusiasm. Like when Cuomo was winning the primary, he was still dead man walking. You didn't hear from the guy. This is different. They love this Mamdani. That doesn't mean I'm not endorsing Curtis, who has spent more time over the last 6 years. Forget about 6 months. Dating back to his last election when he beat Mateo and lost to Eric Adams, who has spent more time endorsing and complimenting Curtis over the last 6 years, Noam, than me.
I don't know that there is anybody.
There is nobody. And Louis, I think you'll answer the same. So I go on the air. I give my honest opinion. And what did I say there? I want Curtis to win. New York should want Curtis to win. I do think Curtis will fare better than both Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo. That's pretty nice. But right now, if it ends up, which I think it will be, Mamdani versus Curtis ain't winning. Now, that doesn't mean he can't win. Did you hear me say on Fox News last night, Curtis can't win?
No.
What I said was, it's hard. You got to go back to Giuliani and Bloomberg as mayors, Pataki as the governor. Any man who's going to bet on this in their right mind would take Mamdani over Curtis. So what do I start getting on Twitter last night? As soon as I walk off the air, for every person on Twitter and Instagram and messaging me that said, Sid, I got to tell you, first of all, you look great. Great tan, great sport jacket. You're all buff. You look great. You sounded great. For every one of those that I got, can't believe you just stabbed Curtis in the back. You just stabbed. I go, well, how did I do that? So I found myself arguing with a couple of people, and then I said, what am I doing? I just blocked them. One guy that really bothered me, this guy, Paul Sesti. Don't know the guy, never met him in my life, don't even care. But he started his tweet by doing this. Sid, you know I love you. I said, don't love me. Please, do me a favor, folks, okay? Don't love me. I don't need your love. Don't love me. Just do me one favor. Be accurate when you describe what I'm talking about, okay? Don't love me. Hate me. Hate my effing guts. I don't care. But when I say that I love Curtis and I'm endorsing Curtis, but the odds are not in his favor right now, say that. Don't say I just stabbed him in the back. I'm not into. I mean, Mayor Adams in studio yesterday, could I have been any more clear, guys? Any more clear that I was endorsing Curtis? No, could I?
Yeah, no, you told him right to his face.
Right to his face. Right here on the air and at Gracie Mansion on Friday. Eric, this is basically a battle for second place. I want Curtis to win, but if Curtis is not going to win, I need you or Cuomo to beat Mamdani. How many times have I said that? 1,000? It's a battle for second place. Has nothing to do with Curtis. But you assholes out there, you dumb mother effing bastards, can't seem to get it. You stupid bastards, you can't seem to get it. Don't question my loyalty to Curtis. Curtis loves me. Okay? He doesn't love you. He doesn't know who you are. And if he does, he doesn't care. He's not calling you 5 times a day. Guess who he's calling 5 times a day? Me.
He loves you.
Yes. And he even says that to me. You know, Curtis doesn't use that love word a lot, trust me. He heard the Adams interview yesterday. I'm sure he'll come in today and break my balls because he's funny. But off the air, he heard it, no problem. Sid, talk to Adams. Sid, talk to Cuomo. Now, Mamdani, I won't talk to, and he won't talk to me. Well, I hate him. But, folks, stop with the nonsense, okay? Grow up. Seriously. Oh, I mean, I can't tell you over the years how many times I've had to scold the audience, which I know you folks don't want to hear, but my God, grow up. I want Curtis. But if the election is today, he's not winning. There's more work to do. We've got work to do. You love Curtis so much? Go out there, put 9 signs on your lawn. Tell your friends to give him money. Nobody cares that you love Curtis on Twitter. Nobody cares. Do something about it.
What are you people? On dope?
Thank you. On dope, exactly, Ray Walston. I do something about it. I put him on a radio show 3 days a week. I don't have to put him on once. It's not like John and Chad came to me and said, make sure you put Curtis on. Not the case. Not the case. I do it because I love the guy and I want him to win. I'm doing my part. I go to events for Curtis. I'll be with Curtis on Staten Island later on tonight. What are you doing besides going on Twitter giving me a hard time? Nothing. So put your money where your mouth is and do something or shut up. God damn it, no. I mean, I'm surrounded by ineptitude. So here's the story. Sid Rosenberg slams Zohran Mamdani, quote, he's an animal. This is, it's Mediaite, right?
Mediaite, yes.
Yeah. A Fox News guest, that's me, a Fox News guest ripped New York State Rep Zohran Mamdani, who was seeking to become the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Sorry. If I sound Islamophobic, I am. Mamdani pulled off a shocking upset of former Governor Andrew Cuomo. What was so shocking? He was up 4 points on Election Day. It may have been shocking the month before when Cuomo had a 25-point lead, but we woke up that morning and Mamdani was already in the lead. Was he not, Noam?
He was that day, yeah, in the poll.
Yeah, thank you. Cuomo is now running in the GE to try to unseat Mayor Eric Adams, who last year was indicted on, why even put that there? Those charges were dropped by the Trump administration this year. The Republican nominee in the race is Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels. On Wednesday, WABC New York radio host Sid Rosenberg appeared on Fox News, where he expressed the fear shared by many opposing Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, that Cuomo and Adams will split the non-Republican anti-Mamdani vote. While doing so, Rosenberg launched, you hear this? I launched into a diatribe that ended with him twice calling Mamdani an animal. They went on to say Sid Rosenberg dehumanizes Mamdani.
Oh, wait, who says that?
That's the headline for this story.
But who's saying you dehumanize it? Are they quoting somebody?
Mediaite.
Or just the guy who wrote this?
The guy who wrote it. It's the headline. The guy who wrote it, some jackass named Michael Luciano.
Yeah.
Who was probably Charles Lucky Luciano's nephew. He's probably going to come kill him. But he, the headline reads, ABC host dehumanizes.
Oh, God.
Well.
It's Dan Abrams that owns Mediaite, the ABC guy.
He owns Mediaite?
Yeah.
What do you mean ABC? He's on News Nation.
Or is it News Nation, wherever he is
He's been
now.
there for a while
He's
now.
He's been
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, he's an attorney, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a bad guy.
No, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of court TV years and years ago, going back to my FPN days. I mean, between 2000 and 2005, I did a lot of court TV because back then Allen Iverson was always getting arrested and Jason Williams shot the limo driver, Lou. Yeah. And there were 3 shows that I was on pretty regularly. One was Catherine Cryer. She had the big show at 5 o'clock. Dan Abrams had a show there. I was on his show. And Kimberly Newsom, who at the time was married to Gavin, with Vinnie Politano, another show is on quite a bit. Now, of course, she's Kimberly Guilfoyle. So, believe it or not, back then she was on court TV. So, I just see Dan Abrams quite a bit. He's good. People like him.
But you know what they do for Mediaite? They hire people, and their only job is to watch, in this case, probably evening Fox News, CNN, MSNBC.
Yeah.
And then when he saw you say that, he was like, bingo!
Yeah.
And he just wrote a story around it.
I'm so tired, too, of calling out Fox News. You know why I was on last night? Because it was Kilmeade, right? Laura Ingraham has invited me on that show once, and the audio went dead. I've never done Hannity. I used to do Waters. The ratings were good. He stopped. I have an idea why he may have stopped. I'm not going to share it, okay? But he stopped. So the guy that always brings me on is Brian. He's got his own great show, One Nation, 10 p.m. Sunday nights on Fox News. I'm on relatively often. I've been on Fox and Friends a bunch of times because of Brian. And I was on Fox News once again last night because of Brian, right? The rest of these Fox News shows, I see the same people on all the time. They're not good looking. They're not really compelling. They're not really funny. They're not controversial. Every time I go on these things, like it or not, there's a big story the next day. Every time. Why do I got to continue to beg the powers that be at Fox News to put me on? See, I know Chris Ruddy, he would give me my own show at Newsmax. He loves me, okay? But I don't do Newsmax. So why is Fox News? What is the matter with them? I mean, I know Brian Kilmeade comes on and says it. When you're on Sunday nights, the ratings are big. And of course they are, because I provide cross-promotion. I've got the number 1 listened to radio show in the morning. He's got a TV show. It all makes sense. Why would I have to beg Fox News? And now they've got numbers that prove I'm right. Why is that, Norm?
I can explain it to you, actually. So Brian Kilmeade gets it, right? He says, if I bring somebody onto the show and they're a bigger personality than me, it still makes for a great bit, right? Or a moment or something. I'm going to get something out of this that the audience is really going to love. But then you have these other hosts whose egos are too big to let you be the bigger personality on the show for that moment. And so that's why they won't bring you on.
I hate to say this. Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
Yeah. It's like Imus. I can't believe I'm going to pay Imus a compliment, but I will. The reason he was so successful is he didn't mind someone being bigger than him in that moment. Being funnier.
He minded it. I mean, he had opportunities.
But he understood it.
He liked the success and he was smart. But he minded it. He was a really insecure little bitch.
But
I mean, when he would go on vacation, I remember one year in particular, you know this, I filled in the whole week in July.
Right.
I hosted the show, Imus. They got a ton of hugely positive feedback, and Imus, in his own mailbox, got I'm in. Maybe it's time to hang it up and hand off to Sid. He got a ton of those. So what happens? He comes back Monday morning, right? And what's the first thing he does?
He bashes you, probably.
He attacks me.
Yeah.
Right. I got to tell you, Sid sucks. He sucks. Right. In the meantime, every email was like, Sid's great. You know, you got Bernie and Connell filling in on Fridays. Why not Sid? And then you got Mike Guntelman filling in on weekend. Why not on vacation? Why not Sid? So, yes, he surrounded himself with big talent, which made his show better, which made him wealthy, because the truth is, on his own, he wasn't that great. He wasn't Stern, but he had Charles and Bernie and Sid and Lou and Rob and Larry. But don't kid yourself. He was insecure. So is Francesa. A lot of these big stars, that's the thing about me. You guys got to admit. I don't even ask who's filling in when I go on vacation. I don't even ask. I don't care. You can bring in Hannity and Howard. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, which is a statement that Bill O'Reilly hates, at the end of the day, I really believe in my heart of hearts that nobody in the world is as good as this as I am. So what do I care? You can bring in, I don't care who you bring in 10 guys, you know? But a lot of these guys, you'd be surprised, the biggest badasses in the history of the business, they're scared to death. You know that's true, no?
Yeah, and I'm positive that's why you're not on these other shows.
I think you're right. Let me send a quick shout out to my buddy Mark Oranger, the great Mark Oranger. We call him Uncle Mark. We love him. He's become my dear guy here. He wants to send a happy birthday shout out to his attorney, Vincent Gallo, talking about Staten Island all morning here with Lebedo and Mamdani. Vinny happens to be from Staten Island, and he listens every morning. So a very happy birthday to Oranger's attorney from Staten Island, Vincent Gallo.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Is there any chance, you're the incumbent, right?
Yes.
The polls are bad right now, but you said 5 weeks out. This is what I get every day, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm obligated to ask this.
Feel free.
Is there any chance before Election Day Mayor Eric Adams drops out?
I'm moving straight ahead. The voters would decide who's going to be the next mayor, and they're going to make a choice. They're going to make a choice. Do they want to empty out Rikers Island, 7,400 of the most dangerous prisoners coming onto our streets? Do they want someone that put terrible policies into our city that hurt our city? Do they want police officers not responding to domestic violence incidents, the most dangerous incident, one of the most dangerous incidents a police officer can respond on? So New Yorkers are going to have to make a choice. Do they want to continue to see the success that this city has shown, the complete turnaround that we have experienced, or do they want to go backwards? We've come too far to go backwards, and I think that New Yorkers are going to make that choice. Listen, I am extremely pleased on my role as a police officer, my role as a state senator, as a borough president, and I ran on working class people values when I ran for office, and I delivered on that. And I am pleased with that. And the voters will determine what is the next 4 years are going to look like in the city.
Who's going to be the next mayor of New York?
You said who will be?
Who will be?
Eric Adams.
That was the mayor, Eric Adams, in these studios yesterday. He ain't dropping out. So Andrew Cuomo, if you're listening, he's not dropping out. And when I asked him, who's going to be the next mayor, he kind of giggled and said his own name. I know he polled at 7% yesterday, but he's been adamant with me privately, which is now public, at Gracie Mansion Friday and on this show yesterday that he believes these elections are 5 weeks. He doesn't care about July or August. Curtis agrees. Curtis says the same thing. So does Andrew. Curtis will be in these studios literally in 45 minutes, but the other candidate, Andrew Cuomo, was here too yesterday. Eric Adams left the building, and about 20 minutes later, Cuomo comes walking in. I don't think either one of them knew they were going to be here, although there was TV sets all over the station saying that Cuomo was coming up. Cuomo was on the very popular podcast hosted by my friend Suzanne Miller, and I watched about 20 minutes of it. And Suzanne did a terrific job. I'm very proud of Suzanne. And Andrew, I thought, did pretty well. But I want to get Suzanne's take on it, being she hosted it. So here she is, host of the Miller Report, Suzanne Miller. Suzanne, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How are you?
I'm great. So before we get into specifics, because I know that you kept driving home bail reform, and I saw the former governor get a little agitated a couple of times, which means you did a great job. That means you did a great job. What was your overall take on Andrew Cuomo yesterday compared to when you interviewed him? Because you did it before during the primary. Was he more outgoing yesterday, more enthusiastic, more ready to fight? What did you take away from Andrew Cuomo yesterday?
You know, I tried to take it much more personal. We got into things about like what his average day is, what makes him support people like the Jews and the gays and all the things that, that he stands for. And I saw that he's very likable, and nobody could take away his experience, his accomplishments, and that he's smart. He's extremely smart. And I saw a personal side of him yesterday, and he's very likable, and he's realistic. He knows it's going to be a tough battle, and he's absolutely fighting this time. He's got a whole new social media campaign. He had his new head of social media with him because they're going to take some of these clips, and he's got a whole new, he's not going to win the way he did before, and we know he got lazy, and as he calls it, he kept the ball in play without really trying, and people are angry at him. And I think he feels responsible. And I think that he genuinely doesn't want to lose New York because he is concerned. We're all concerned about what can happen. And Sid, who was the one that was ringing the bells to you initially?
You were worried. You were worried. And I've said this about a million times. Part of the reason, and I'm wrong about nothing. And I was wrong about this. But part of the reason why I was wrong about it was I just refused to believe it. I refused to believe that New Yorkers would allow this guy to win a primary. Not because I didn't think he could. If you put a gun to my head and said, Sid, if you're not going to be honest, we're going to shoot you, I would have agreed that Mamdani had a shot. But I let my heart make the call, and I was wrong. But, you talk about he's likable, Andrew Cuomo. They all are. I mean, again, I've spent hours with Eric Adams twice in the last 5 days. And I used to be good friends with Eric. He's a likable guy. Andrew Cuomo's right. Andrew's a likable guy. Yeah. And what do people say about Mamdani? The people that like him, and I hate his guts, but the people that like him, he's a likable guy. So, and there have been dictators and horrible people that were likable guys. It doesn't mean anything. I sat with.
I tell you, Sid. One of the things that I told you early on, the reason I believe that Mamdani did win the primary is because of housing. Housing is the most expensive thing anybody has got to pay for, and there is no housing, and there's a shortage, and people are promised some sizzle, which makes absolutely no sense because he has no way to do it. Andrew Cuomo is the only guy in this race, and sorry, Curtis, I hope you're listening. He's the only one that could fix the housing problem.
Wait, Eric Adams was in these studios yesterday, and when he was touting, we'll get to Curtis in a bit. When he was touting the things that he's done well, he mentioned housing.
Mm-hmm. It's not true, because even though Eric has tried with the city of yes, it's not enough, because there's so many people that 40% of their paycheck goes to their apartment if you can get one. So there's such a shortage. And this 485X, which just lets you build up to 30 floors, is not enough. And Andrew Cuomo on that issue Nobody has more experience than he does, and I do believe he could fix the housing issue. And that is why he lost. And you can't keep your eye off the ball because people vote in their pocketbooks. So if an average kid graduates college, and they can't get an apartment, they're going to vote for somebody that promises they can. They're going to freeze the rent, and that's not enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's why he lost. I think there's something very chic and exciting about hating Jewish people, especially in New York City, and Mamdani leads the way with that. I think there's a bunch of factors why Cuomo lost and Mamdani did so well. And if you think hating on Jews is not one of them, you're being naive. But you're right.
Well, he said that. It came up in the interview, and I did ask him. I said, how much of the support for Jews did contribute to your loss? And he said, New York has more anti-Semitic incidences than any other city in the country. And because of what happened, yes, that is one of the, don't kid yourself, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he knows that. Is he backing down against the Jews? I mean, I think everybody's going to talk the talk that they will because they want to win, but he does have two Jewish brother-in-laws. So I think he is a friend of the Jews. I think they all are. Andrew absolutely is, Eric is, and Curtis is. So in that note, I think they all get an A. So
let me ask you this, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. This is Suzanne Miller, does a great job, the Miller podcast. I personally reached out to her this morning. She interviewed Andrew Cuomo yesterday. She's interviewed all the candidates, obviously, outside of Mamdani. I'm getting the feeling from this conversation, and again, if I'm putting words in your mouth, stop me, that Cuomo right now is your candidate. Is that right?
No, I'm just like John, ABZ. I think I came up with the phrase. Anybody but Zohran. For me, it's. I just don't want Zohran to win, and I'm willing to support anybody that's in the lead. And I think that I don't care if it was Paterson, Cuomo, Walden who came up with the idea, but I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think in 2 weeks, who's ever polling best, and I do believe in polls, otherwise we would not have them. They do give us a suggestion of who's going to win. That's all we have, and I'm going to go full force. Who's ever doing well, then I'm going to back him. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, by the way, 2 weeks is too early because then you're pushing up against Labor Day. You got to go about 2 weeks past
Labor
Day.
Labor Day.
Right, you got to go end of September, early October.
No, too late.
No, it's not too late. No, it's 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So if I asked you today who was going to be mayor, today's the election. Who's the next mayor of New York City? What's your answer?
Andrew Cuomo.
You think Andrew Cuomo would win today?
I think he's going to win, yep.
No, I'm not asking you think he's going to win. If the election was today, who would win?
Andrew Cuomo.
Okay. Excellent job. When can people catch your podcast? Where, when? Give out all the details.
It'll be exclusive on WABC in about a week because we're backed up. We got a lot of them to get out, and you guys have a lot of work to do as far as editing and getting it out. I'd say another week.
And it usually comes out.
You exclusive first.
I know it's a big deal. Thank you. Thursdays, Fridays. When does it come out usually?
It comes out on Mondays usually.
Monday. All right. And I was in a cab the other day, and there you are in New York City taxi cabs.
How many back seats of taxis have I been in?
Well, that's for a different show, Suzanne. No, actually, you're on the right show for that one. Trust me. This is the only show for that. Yeah.
I upped the taxis appearances because at the end I tell everybody to vote. And that is the most important thing. And by the way, it's everybody's civic duty. We need to vote. And the reason I do believe that we're going to have a different upset this time is because only 22% of people got out to vote.
That's right.
In the primary, and I think this is going to be a huge turnout. That's what I think.
That's exactly what Andrew Cuomo said to me at the hotel. We had lunch 2 weeks ago. He said, Sid, there's another 500,000 votes out there that were not there during the primary. And he goes, I can get them all. So we'll see.
What do you think?
If the election was today, Mamdani wins.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see.
He's up by like 30 points if it was today.
Well, Cuomo was up by 25 points.
Okay, so yes, things can change between today and Election Day. Today, Mamdani wins. And the reason why I keep saying that is I think there needs to be a huge sense of urgency for Curtis, who I want to win, Eric and Andrew, that if they think that, he's just going to fall apart, it's not going to happen, they're going to be wrong. So all I'm saying is if it was today, Mamdani would win, but there's plenty of time for these other candidates to go get him. but they need to start as soon as possible. Suzanne, great job. Thank you so much.
Sid, quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think that any of them are going to back out?
No. I've asked them all that on the air, off the air, on the air, off the air. There's no way Eric backs out. He's got plenty of real estate money coming in. He's the incumbent. He's not backing out. Curtis is the only Republican. He just got $2 million. He's not backing out. Mamdani's in the lead. He just got $1.7 million. He's not backing out. The only guy I can see backing out is your guy Cuomo, because he's losing money from big business people. He's losing it, and he's still 19 points back, and he's got a big ego. So the only guy you can see backing out is Andrew, but I don't think he will either. So if you're counting on somebody to back out to win the race, I've been saying this for 7 weeks. I really have. Stop. It's not happening. Go out there, vote for the guy that you think will do the best for the city, and stop waiting for somebody to drop out, because no one's dropping out.
We'll see.
All right, Suzanne, thank you. Thank you very much.
Here.
Suzanne Miller right there, the Miller podcast, and as she said, it comes out on Mondays.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid on Sports. Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers. Will start here out in the Bronx. Yanks unable to complete a series sweep of the Twins, losing 4-1 in last night's series finale against Minnesota. Cody Bellinger home run in the third inning accounted for the only Yankees run in a game that was delayed at the start for an hour and 52 minutes because of rain. New York rookie Cam Schlittler allowed 1 run and 3 hits in 5 1/3 innings. The hard-throwing righty retired the first 9 hitters until Trevor Larnach walked ahead of a double by Byron Buxton. Up next for the Yankees, still a game and a half back of the Red Sox for second place in the division, and a game up on Cleveland for the third and final AL wildcard spot. An off day today before opening up a 3-game weekend series at St. Louis tomorrow night. In Queens, the Mets fell right back into the loss column as well, falling 11-6 to the Braves after taking the series opener on Tuesday night, up 6-0 at one point in the game. Delayed 95 minutes by rain. A 9-run outburst in the fourth for Atlanta propelled them to the win. Starter David Peterson issued 4 free passes in the fourth, including a bases-loaded walk of Nick Allen, and gave up Jurickson Profar's 3-run double before Marcell Ozuna greeted reliever Reed Garrett with an RBI single. 3 batters later, Michael Harris, the second, hit a grand slam that capped off the biggest inning for the Braves since September of 2020. The Mets gave up at least 9 runs in an inning for the 9th time in franchise history, and the first since April of 2019. Pete Alonso had a 2-run single. Cedric Mullins lofted a sac fly in the first before Juan Soto hit a 407-foot 2-run homer, and Jeff McNeil had an RBI double in the second. Peterson surrendered a season-high 6 runs over a season-low 3 1/3 innings. The Mets have now lost 12 of 14. Up next for New York, now 5 games back of Philadelphia for first place in the division, and just a game up off on Cincy for the third and final NL wildcard spot. Kodai Senga will get the start in tonight's finale and rubber game of this 3-game series against Atlanta. First pitch scheduled for 7:10 p.m. from Citi Field. That's your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Entertaining and informative. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
So, this is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl. It comes out October 3rd. This album is about what was going on behind the scenes in my inner life during this tour, which was so exuberant and electric and vibrant. It just comes from like the most infectiously joyful, wild, dramatic place I was in my life.
Yeah.
And so that effervescence has come through on this record. And like, as you said, bangers.
Somebody tell Carol I'm talking about her daughter again. Carol is so great. We keep in touch still a lot. And Bernard's son, of course, Brendan, he's had two babies already, 2 boys. So Bernard is a grandfather twice. But his daughter, Melanie, just got engaged a couple of weeks ago. And Melanie's a gorgeous young girl, beautiful young girl. And she kind of looks like, she's blonde. And I think Bernard kind of looked at Melanie and Swift and is like, wait a second, the young girls had daughters. And he would get angry. He would. And we play that song style. And we play a love story. You know that one, Noam, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. And she annoyed both of us. And certainly this whole thing with Travis Kelce has made her just about unbearable. And then you get Mahomes' wife, the great quarterback on Kansas City, Brittany, who's a big Trump fan, and she's all the things that we want Taylor Swift to be. And now you got this kind of rivalry between the quarterback and the tight end, although those two guys, you couldn't be any closer. Those guys are beyond best buddies, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But, like everything else with me, and I admit this, if you don't like Trump, then there's a good chance, unless you're my daughter, or somebody I really love, and, you kind of get that grandfather rule going for you. But if you don't like Trump, then odds are I think you're stupid. Being honest, I think you're stupid, and I don't really want to hang out with you, and I don't really want to be your friend, So I don't care if I ever hear a Bruce Springsteen song again, and I loved that man, loved him.
That's not true.
I didn't love him?
No. You care if you never hear another Springsteen.
Not really, no. Okay. I mean, look.
You will.
I'll be in a car. Somebody will have it on. I'm not going to say change that. I'd be lying if I said that, to your point. Look, I was in a car with my friend Tony Talandini a couple of days ago. My new friend. He drove me to this great rally in New Jersey for Scott Presler and Jack Chittarelli. And I said to him, I said, the thing that I like most about myself is that I'm a self-proclaimed hypocrite. It's so beautiful because I can say one thing one day and then go back on it the next. And what are you going to say to me? Oh, what a hypocrite. Okay, great. I've already admitted I'm a hypocrite. So I make different rules for different people, and maybe I'll suspend Springsteen for one day and bring him back the next because he talked bad about Trump. The Israel stuff's a different story on this show. You go there, Roger Waters, Pink Floyd, Eric Clapton, you're gone. You played none of that. But with Swift, I kind of go back and forth. And I guess, her boyfriend Travis, when he's not catching touchdown passes, less the last couple of years, but he's still a good football player. And he's in great shape. He spent this whole offseason getting muscle and losing weight. When he's not catching touchdown passes from Mahomes, he's doing this podcast with his fat brother, who was a great lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. But he just looks fat, stupid, and drunk. And God,
he's actually lost a lot of weight since playing.
Since putting his fat stomach up against a window at Arrowhead Stadium. God, he looks stupid. But they do this podcast, which you got to be a moron to listen to, so Alec likes it. And Taylor Swift, was she on that podcast yesterday?
She was.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it yesterday, 2 days ago?
Whatever. No, it was last night.
Last night. Oh, they released a whole episode last night. But
so Noam, I believe that 8 million people, 8 million morons, 8 million idiots listen to that Kelce Taylor Swift podcast. And Noam, I think you told me that 1 million were listening live?
Yeah, they did something live last night, and they actually even had a glitch at one point, so it went off, and they had to reboot the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, they said we broke the internet or whatever.
Yeah, and then when they came back on, they still had 1 million people watching.
I mean, I got to ask you, Lou, what kind of loser? Besides Alec, what kind of loser?
Okay, so besides him.
Yeah, would tune into this. There's these two brothers who, mind you, neither one of them is about to split an atom anytime soon. That doesn't mean they're not entertaining. Okay, fine. They're good, great football players. Great, both Hall of Famers. And funny, and they got good stories, but let's be honest, okay? This is not the Mensa meeting. And they got Swift on. Well, what kind of loser would actually listen to something like this?
And you don't care if they're not Mensa members even, but I don't understand who has the time.
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah. Well,
what kind of loser sits down for an hour and goes, I got an hour free tonight, so instead of watching XNXX, excuse me? Nobody even knows what that is.
And that's not for losers, that's for sure.
I got that reference.
I got 15 minutes. I can watch XNXX or Taylor Swift with the Kelce brothers.
Well, it depends. If you're really a loser, then you do need XNXX.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it like that.
Is there any way to find out who listens to this? Like, I don't know, a demographic or... I'm interested. I'm actually curious.
Well, I mean, usually a lot of they have a big male audience. Usually, I doubt.
Who though? What, like the Eagle fans? Or,
it's got to be football
Eagles
fans.
and Chiefs fans, man, for sure.
That's the first thing. We got to hear what they're talking about.
I mean, listen. I've never sat down and listened to an entire episode of it.
Oh my God, you're such a liar.
No, I'm not.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do because I got to run.
Okay, fine.
We're gonna get a polygraph in here tomorrow.
Oh, good luck.
And we're gonna live on the air give you a polygraph test.
Yeah.
And ask you that same question over again.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail like O.J. Simpson.
I would fail if a polygraph test asked me if I was alive today.
Why, you nervous?
No.
Yeah, of course.
No, if you're nervous on those tests, you know that you can be telling the truth, and it still comes out that you're
Those
lying.
aren't accurate.
Now, how do you feel about the tush push, Justin?
Did they take that away? Is that gone?
No, it's still they couldn't muster up the
votes.
Support, the votes, yeah.
Because that was a big play for Jalen Hurts last year,
and it's going to be yet again.
No, I know.
Year.
Listen, he's strong as an ox, Jalen. It's a great play for those guys. That doesn't bother me. That stuff. I don't care about that.
No, if it's
I don't. I actually think it's. I think it's a dumb rule that if you hop on somebody's shoulders to block a field goal or an extra point, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Why? You show me somebody who's athletic enough at 300 pounds to jump that high onto somebody's shoulders or pick them up. Who cares? Why? Don't you think that's a dumb rule, though?
Yeah.
I agree. That would be great if they added
right.
And bring the horse collar back. What are we doing here?
Oh, I don't care about that either.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the cops in the street.
These guys are
stop and frisk, hit them. First of all, bring back the batons, those nightsticks. Shove it right up their asses. I mean, beat these people to a pulp. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds violent, but
yeah, I don't know if you need the horse
I
collar,
was like half kidding.
But I'd like to see somebody block a
I'm not even half kidding. I'm being serious.
He's dead serious.
I want to beat these people to a pulp.
Okay, we still talking about the NFL here? Or
right.
I mean everything. I mean people in the streets of New York, the NFL, all of it. You, in fact.
Oh wow. Wow.
All right, we got a big 7 o'clock hour about to come your way. The amazing columnist from the New York Post, Miss Australia, Miranda Devine's going to be here. And then who else is on? Oh, Curtis. Oh, my God, Curtis Sliwa. You guys all see me and Scott Lebedo last night on Fox News. Brian Kilmeade filling in for Laura Ingraham on the Ingraham Angle, talking up Curtis Sliwa. So we'll talk to Curtis and Miranda Devine right after Noam.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, you're my best friend.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
From my friends.
77 WABC.
About 18 months, I was pissed. But we spoke about this on Friday, and you brought up a pretty good point. You said, well, let me ask you this. All the politicians, all the people in New York City, does anybody else do more for the Jewish people? Does anybody else say more? Now, look, what I said to you was, that's like winning a beauty contest in a leper colony. That doesn't mean you did great because the rest suck, to be completely honest. But compared to them, yes. So when I say I was disappointed, you say what? I was angry, actually. You say what?
No, and I think it's not that I did great in comparison to everyone else. I did great because I did great. I was in the streets at some of these demonstrations and marches, communicating with our commanders and telling them what my expectations were. When we had to make arrests, we made arrests. When people told me don't do the Israeli Day Parade because it would be too dangerous, I said that's not acceptable. And we would not run for fear, and we're not going to have anyone disrupt our life here in the city. Not only the Israeli Day Parade, but also there were times I went up to Columbia, I went up to NYU. We communicated with the school officials and told them we should be moving in right away to disband the encampments, to disband the actions of those who want to protest.
Yes, and this is the one time I actually did yell at you on Friday when I said to you, you may have done all that, okay? But let's be honest, Eric. If the KKK was on that lawn and they were terrorizing black students, okay? Last I checked, you're a black guy. They were terrorizing black students, and it wasn't Hamas terrorizing Jews. You will never be able to convince me. Even now, you're not going to be able to. You were going to wait for a call from the president to go in there. You would have gone in there with guns blazing if the KKK was terrorizing black students.
No, I would not.
Come on.
Eric.
Come on. I was in Jersey last Saturday. I love you, Sid. I love you, Sid. And I love Naomi. I love Naomi. And for you new listeners, she's my 90-year-old mother. And she's wildly entertaining. Love my mom. She's wild because she just doesn't care. You know, I mean, I'll never forget. We were discussing Joe Biden, and we were talking about Kennedy, and we were talking about the Kennedy assassination. And my mother actually said, and Noam loved this on this show, They were able to do that guy. Why can't they figure out a way to do this guy? And I said, Mom, that's a federal offense to ask somebody to assassinate the president. And she just didn't care.
No.
And in the same conversation, I said, Mom, these illegals, they don't come to like Monticello, upstate New York, you know. So, but if they did, what would you do? And she said, I would shoot them. I said, Mom, I don't know if you want to be talking about shooting people. Yeah, what are they going to do to me? I'm 90 years old. Go ahead, come get me.
I'm picturing her like coming out, you know,
what do
like
I care?
with like a big sawed-off shotgun.
It was like that one day there was like 4 or 5 things that I would never even say, you know, and that's saying a lot. But at any rate, we're going to go see Mom tomorrow. But I never checked, Louis, the Bethel Woods schedule for this weekend. We were up there July 4th, and it was pathetic. They had one show in 3 nights. You get the extra day for the July 4th weekend, and it was that stupid kid show. What was that called? Kids Bop.
They're great, Kids Bop.
What is it?
I'm begging you. Please.
It's kids singing like, you know, pop hits.
No.
Yeah.
That's it.
Great for who? Your kids are even too old for that now.
Kid. I remember being subjected to that when
I was
younger.
Me. Oh, hey,
It's awful.
bro, stop it. Me too. I mean, my kids, you know, Gaby eventually was knee deep in SpongeBob SquarePants,
right?
But I had all of it. Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, I remember that too. Yeah.
Lazy Town.
Yeah.
Who was the Puerto Rican kids? Dora and the boy. What's his name? Pablo or something.
It wasn't Pablo.
It doesn't matter. Who cares? God.
Diego. That's it.
There you go. I had it all. Trust me. But at this day, and I know they sold the place out. I know there's a million kids who loved it, but you can, you know, you want to do one night for the kids, July 4th weekend. I'm all for that, Bethel Woods. But at least have one act for the adults. It's a long weekend. They gave us nothing. Is there anybody good up there this weekend?
Well, tonight you got the Dark Star Orchestra.
The what?
Yeah.
Is that, are you joking?
Which I think must be a Grateful Dead thing.
Oh, God.
Because that's
stop
one
it.
of their big, long, meandering things, Dark Star.
Anybody over the weekend? Saturday specifically.
Dirks Bentley.
Oh, that's a big show.
That's Saturday.
You know, I think Stephen Maniscalco was there Sunday. Sebastian, I'm sorry.
Yes, he's Sunday.
Yeah, Mark Oranger offered me tickets, but it's Sunday night, and we like to leave early Sunday because we got to work on Monday.
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
But I have been offered tickets from Maniscalco, and I saw Maniscalco once before. You guys remember? I went to see him with my friend Jimmy Orsini, who's like the biggest oncologist out in New Jersey. And you may have heard of this guy, Stephen Van Zandt, Little Stevie from Springsteen's E Street Band, and, of course, Silvio Dante from The Sopranos. And they filmed that night, that specific Maniscalco concert, for Showtime. And when we watched it back, you saw me and Van Zandt yucking it up a couple of times. Tony Danza was there that night. At any rate, I can't go Sunday. It's too late. So Dirks Bentley, huh?
Yeah.
He's good.
Too bad Monday. Monday, that place will be...
What do they have?
The Jonas Brothers.
Oh, God. I saw, you know, on the ferry going home, they've got
Yes, I see that.
A promo for the Jonas Brothers.
5 nights, 5 cities.
Listen, they're huge.
Yeah,
I'm not going to deny it, but I have no desire to see the Jonas Brothers.
No.
Zero. You know. Zero.
The crowd would not be
no.
to your thing.
No. So it seems like they're doing a lot of stuff for kids these days, no? Kids Bop, Jonas Brothers. Give me some old drugged up musicians and get my old ass up to that stage, you know?
Usually in the summer we get all those.
I know, that's what I'm
old-timers.
saying. I don't get it. And they do it during the week sometimes. Like, what good is a Monday night?
Well, they've got some of those new wave bunch of bands going together in these tours. I forget some of them, like what Modern English is playing with 3 other bands. Yeah.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Okay, got 2 others?
That's the only song they did. They have to do literally 1 hour of that song. Give me a long riff.
40 minutes.
And they're like touring with like missing persons.
Yeah.
That's
That would be like, or Aha for that matter.
Right.
Take on me. That's all they did. That's it.
So they all go on, do their song, and then the show's over. That's it.
Yeah.
No, it's bands like that are getting. It's not big, huge. I don't think.
But it's not U2.
No.
You're not going to get U2 at Bethel Woods, but they got great shows. They do. They get the same shows they get at Jones Beach and What are these other venues in New York?
Forest Hill Stadium.
That's closed now, though, right?
No.
Oh, that they shut it down this summer.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
No.
What do I know? At any rate, we're going to go see Naomi tomorrow and do our thing in upstate New York, see my sisters, Lizzie, Ray Sherry, Alana, see my cousin Candy, and a whole bunch of people that I really like and, quite frankly, don't like. So, even over this conversation, I'm not going to do it again. But I'm very phony, so they'll never know. They'll never know.
Hey, I've missed you a lot.
Oh, I missed you, too. What an asshole.
Yeah. That's what he's going to go on the show about Trump. And, Jesus.
So the one last thing before I get to Curtis is my mother's house in upstate New York is a shrine. You guys know this already, but it's a shrine to President Trump. She's got banners. I mean, banners. You can see those things. If you're in a jet, 35,000 feet, you can see my mother's Trump banners on the house. And she's got like 3 of them. You know, like, and one of them is like nasty, too. Something like, you know, if you don't like them, F you or something like that. I don't know. You know. So every now and then you see people that live in my community who I've known for 40 years walk by the house and they give the front of the house where my mother lives the finger. They walk by, they give the house the finger.
You've seen this?
Oh, I've seen it. And God forbid my mother is like having a cup of coffee on the porch and they don't know she's there and she sees it. She runs out. And I can't even say on the air.
That neighborhood sounds like fun.
Makes Michael Rappaport look like a 5th grade teacher. She does. She goes crazy. And then every now and then people will walk by, like some of the Orthodox Jews, they'll applaud. Hey, way to go, Trump, you know. But everybody knows where Naomi lives, which means everybody knows where I'm staying. So it's a little
terrific.
Yes, it's fun and terrifying at the same time.
Please
all
say hi to your mother for me, please. Say hi.
Say hi to your mother.
Best. She's great.
Naomi, we love you, baby.
She's
all
the
right.
best.
She's the best.
I kind of want to walk by and give it the finger just to see that whole thing play out.
Of course. Yeah. No, first of all, if you did do that, you'd be being honest. Which I know would be something new for you. Let's Curtis Sliwa coming up next.
He's going to do it now. That's
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
Is there any chance, you're the incumbent, right?
Yes.
The polls are bad right now, but you said 5 weeks out. This is what I get every day, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm obligated to ask this.
Feel free.
Is there any chance before Election Day, Mayor Eric Adams drops out?
I'm moving straight ahead. The voters will decide who's going to be the next mayor, and they're going to make a choice. They're going to make a choice. Do they want to empty out Rikers Island, 7,400 of the most dangerous prisoners coming onto our streets? Do they want someone that put terrible policies into our city that hurt our city? Do they want police officers not responding to domestic violence incidents, the most dangerous incident, one of the most dangerous incidents a police officer can respond on? So New Yorkers are going to have to make a choice. Do they want to continue to see the success that this city has shown, the complete turnaround that we have experienced, or do they want to go backwards? We've come too far to go backwards, and I think that New Yorkers are going to make that choice. Listen, I am extremely pleased on my role as a police officer, my role as a state senator, as a borough president, and I ran on working class people values when I ran for office, and I delivered on that, and I am pleased with that. And the voters will determine what is the next 4 years are going to look like in the city.
Who's going to be the next mayor of New York?
You said who will be?
Who will be?
Yeah, Eric Adams.
Okay.
How'd it go with Sid this morning?
Every time we do an interview, it goes well, you know. And I'm gonna give a straight answer. We're the same people in the mindset of being honest with each other.
You know, I don't do anything in this mayor's race without going to Curtis. Okay. I don't need Curtis's approval, but I want it. I want it. So I went to Curtis and I said, you know, what do you think about me talking to Adams, sitting with Adams, talking to Cuomo, sitting with Cuomo? And what I've learned is that not only is Curtis the best candidate to be mayor, but he's an adult. And that's big these days, because a lot of you are children out there. You're really stupid. He goes, of course you should. You're on WABC. They're running in New York. Of course you should. But is that not true, Curtis, that before I do anything like that, do I not look for your approval first?
No, you always run it by me because we've been colleagues here at WABC, and we've been through quite a few battles,
I would say.
But it's important that everybody be able to hear from the candidates. Now, Eric Adams, he's one and done. I think everybody knows that. And you could hear it in his voice. He knows he's going to have a job in the Trump administration when he loses on November 4th.
That's what you think, right?
Oh, come on. It's a guarantee. Slam dunk.
That's the money. He works for Trump. Okay. By the way, I did notice, before you continue your conversation with Eric Adams, you've never done this. We're together now 10 years here.
Yes.
And you've been on this show more than anybody else.
Yes.
5 days a week, 3 days a week. You and I, to say we're close is an understatement.
Yes.
You've been taking off the beret quite a bit because journalists and voters got angry with you. So now I notice you're doing TV interviews and stories, but you've never, ever, ever done an interview with me in 10 years without the beret. You just took it off. Why?
Well, because there are some of your listeners, of which there are hundreds of thousands, who have said, I could vote for you if you take the damn beret off.
Yeah, that's true.
So you know something? There are two pathways to victory here. When I'm in the subways and the streets, obviously I wear the red beret because I'm also helping people while I'm out there. By the way, none of these candidates are campaigning in the subways. Number two, when I'm in the suites and I'm dealing with the corporate elite like I was in the Hamptons and blew them all away, even John said that, better than Adams did, better than Cuomo did, but that Cuomo-sexual Suzanne Miller apparently didn't see it that way. Oh, my God, is she in the bag for Cuomo? But all of a sudden, nobody recognized me when I walked in.
Even Bo Dietl had no idea who you were.
No.
And he knows you for 40 years.
That's right. And there are people who have dealt with me over the years. Once they hear the voice, they say, oh, that's Curtis.
Of course.
So if this guarantees that I will become mayor, I will do both.
My next guest, Miranda Devine, who loves you, by the way, she was one of the people that didn't love the beret, so she's joining me next.
Well, you got to tell Miranda it's time for me to be on that podcast.
I did tell her that, and she said September. I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you.
No, that's very good.
But you've been screwing my other friends. You screwed Bill O'Reilly. You never got back to him.
No. That was a miscommunication. I'm on with him in September, and he's been very kind to me, and also said that he would talk to the person who is another Cuomo-sexual, Stephen A. Smith.
My God.
He can't have Cuomo on enough, but he won't have me on. It's like, because, you know, I'm not just going to roll over.
No, of course
to Queens Boys.
Yeah. O'Reilly's coming on at 8:45. Somebody else was on the show the last 2 days who was complaining that Curtis wasn't getting back to them, and they wanted you. They wanted you. I forget who it was, but go back to him. So you're telling me that he's going to get a job with the Trump administration. You really believe, in your heart of hearts, that he's dead man walking?
Oh, yeah, and yesterday was proof of that. The one group he did have in his back pocket were the Turks. It's because he took Turkish money that he got into so much trouble. Erdogan money. By the way, Erdogan hates the Jews, hates Israel. But he had no problem taking their money, flying back and forth. But do you know where Zohran Mamdani tried to invade Staten Island at in Stapleton? The Istanbul restaurant. He's got Turkish support now, and that was like another nail in Eric Adams' coffin when his Muslim advisor was pleading guilty to illegal campaign contribution fundraising on behalf of Eric Adams yesterday in federal court. He'll go to jail, but not Eric Adams. And he's like, well, wait a second. I did it because the boss told me to do it, meaning Eric Adams.
Let me ask you about the polls, though, because right now you're beating Adams. Not even right now. It's been consistent. I believe the last 5 polls, even Morgan McKay, I like this lady a lot, Morgan McKay on Channel 5. She said that, too, that the last 5 or 6 polls, you are consistently beating Adams, and it's not that close. Some of these polls, you're up by 5 or 6 points.
Yeah.
So if you're up 5 or 6 on Eric, that means that Eric is almost 40 behind the leader, Mamdani. And I voiced that to Eric on Friday when that poll came out at 7% at Gracie. I said it again yesterday, and he said, look, Sid, I've been doing this a long time. I ran for Senate. I ran for Brooklyn Borough President. I ran for mayor. He said, these elections are 5 weeks out. 5 weeks out. Now, That is a very, very big number to overcome, even bigger than Mamdani overcoming Cuomo in the primary. But do you agree that right now, at least, right now, these numbers aren't all that important, and the election is about 5 or 6 weeks out? Late September or mid-September?
You are correct. And that's when everybody focuses. Right now, it's fear, fright, hysteria, hype. It's the end of it. Look, nothing gets resolved now.
And not even, Miller said earlier, Suzanne, 2 weeks. No, that's wrong, too.
No.
Because 2 weeks you're pushing up against Labor Day. You got to get through Labor Day, give it a couple of weeks, let people get back to work, back to school, get their breath going, and then it counts.
Yeah, and they have to settle down because now we have a new, totally different Andrew Cuomo, who is trying to go to the far, 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 far left, further than Zohran Mamdani himself. This is a different Cuomo that was in the primary. You know how he was attacking Zohran Mamdani for wanting free bus fare? Say, how are we going to pay for that? Remember? How are we going to pay for that?
I remember him saying that.
And I was laughing because half the people don't pay their bus fare to begin with, and none of those candidates want to enforce the fare. I'm the only candidate that says pay your fare, you get written up, or you go to jail. Now, yesterday, Andrew Cuomo calls for free subway, free bus fare, free college, and is running an ad when Bernie the Alcacaka Sanders, leader of all the socialists, was praising him because as governor, he wanted free SUNY tuition. So, this is like Slim Shady. Will a real Slim Shady, will a real Andrew Cuomo please stand up, please stand up. And then you get Suzanne Miller. Oh, well, he has 2 Jewish brother-in-laws. He's moving away from the Jews, too. Soon he'll have a keffiyeh on along with Chuck Schumer.
I don't know about that. I mean, he did have that one day, to your point, in your defense, where he went back and forth, right? He was like, well, the Israelis are not doing a very good job with humanitarian aid, and that's stupid.
The keffiyeh is going on. So.
You think so?
With Chuck Schumer. They're going to be eating hummus together, right? All right, come on, let's be real here.
Well, my issue with Andrew is this, okay? I've met with the guy 4 times. I saw him yesterday. He didn't see me, but I watched the podcast with Miller. But we did, I'll be honest, I always am with you, we did text each other yesterday.
Yes.
All right? And we talk more than he talks to Trump or Miller anyway. We talk often, okay? But say what you want. Eric Adams, he was on this show yesterday. And you know that I've been brutal. People go, oh, I'm tough on Adams. Be quiet. I'm on the air 20 hours a week in the number 1 media market in the world. It takes 15 minutes or less. When I say something, it gets right back to Adams in 10 minutes. Admit, I've been brutal to him for 18 months.
Yes.
But he was in these studios yesterday.
Well, that's because it's better to be a metrosexual. Remember, you and Eric Adams bonded. I remember when it happened over your fashionista attire. The swagger man with no plan looked at you and saw the swagger man with a tan, and both of you were like Siamese twins, remember? Over fashion.
No, we did. We would compare each other as but he was here. You're always here, and you'll talk to anybody.
Right, but you see, you determine it's better to be a metrosexual than a Cuomo-sexual because Andrew Cuomo is just a big tease. He's just a big tease.
What do you mean?
That means he loves to do softball interviews like with Stephen A. Smith and with Suzanne Miller. They're Cuomo-sexuals. They're in the bag. But he knows he's going to come on with you, and you're going to say, what's up with this free subway and bus fare, Cuomo? That's to the left of Zohran Mamdani. What's with this free college education? How are you going to pay for that? And by the way, as mayor, you can't do that. So every criticism he had of Zohran Mamdani in the primary, he's flipped the script. And now all of a sudden he wants to give everything away for free.
That's
everything.
True. Now, you listen back, you're right about with Cuomo. Back to the Adams interview yesterday, and a lot of people were like, oh, Sid, when you get Adams, don't be a pussy, blah, 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 whatever, stupid. You heard me push back on the KKK.
No, excellent. Actually, because nobody believed that. Come on, Aaron.
Right. But there were 4 or 5 times during that conversation yesterday where I hit him pretty hard, right? I mean, did you listen to that and go?
Yes. No. It was an excellent interview. And you have to have connections with all the candidates other than Zohran Mamdani. By the way, was Scott Lepedo not once again excellent? He brought the troops together and said, you're not coming as Staten Italy. No way. You attacked Christopher Columbus. You never apologized for that. You're going to come across the Verrazano Bridge and go to the previous favorite restaurant of Eric Adams, the Istanbul restaurant where you got all of his Turkish money. He's taking that from Eric Adams. You're not taking Staten Island. And oh my God, there were 4 times more people outside protesting Zohran Mamdani who fled back across the Verrazano Bridge than there were inside the Istanbul restaurant.
That's true. And what also made me happy was not just Lebedo, who, God, I love him, and all the protesters. How about all the Curtis Sliwa signs?
Yes.
Now, I was on Fox News with Scott Lebedo last night, and Lebedo was trumpeting your horn. He's great with you, too. Scott's great, and we'll all be together tonight on Staten Island. Me, you, Lebedo, Frank Morano, all of us, filling in for Laura Ingram, Brian Kilmeade, and he's like, Curtis is going to win. And I said, listen, I love Curtis. I want Curtis to win. My heart's with Curtis. New York's hearts should be with Curtis. But right now, it's a pretty big deficit, Curtis and Mamdani. And Scott said, listen, it's all going to go away. And I hope Scott is right. I really do. I believe you're the best candidate in my heart. I know you are. You should be the mayor of this city. But I'm sorry, Curtis. I don't trust New Yorkers. They've elected so much garbage on a city level, on a state level for so many years. I just don't trust them.
I understand that. That's why you need to go to the Jewish Himalayas this weekend to meet with your mother to get you back on track.
She loves you.
Naomi, exactly.
She loves you. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to put Curtis Sliwa lawn signs.
Yes.
With the Trump stuff. I swear to God.
Yes, excellent. Excellent, yeah.
Yes. And I was walking down the block yesterday from the shuttle from the ferry, and my beautiful neighbors, Joe and Maria Ferrante, great Italian couple, 2 beautiful kids. I walked by the house, and Joe goes, hey, come here a second. Yeah, what's up, Joe? Can you get me some Curtis Sliwa signs? So the Rockaway Republican Club, Mary Glynn, Margaret Powers, and Paul King, make sure the Ferrantes have Curtis Sliwa signs. Everybody wants Curtis Sliwa signs these days.
Because we're marking our territory. We're telling Zohran Mamdani, not in this neighborhood. Notice Cuomo ain't doing that. Adams ain't doing that. Adams opened up a headquarters on Avenue T, right, in Mill Basin. It's closed. They can't even occupy it.
Is that right?
That's right. It's a danger to occupy.
Is he by the deli?
Oh, my God. It's right there.
My friend Paul, Mill Basin Deli?
It's closed.
God.
And the New York Post does this big thing, opening up headquarters. I was past it the other night. I'm like, I went to the Oasis Diner next to...
Oh, you did? You saw my friends George and Peter Liberatos.
Right, and they are building a lithium-ion battery warehouse. A big sign, sponsored and funded by Eric Adams. And he dares put a headquarters in Marine Park in Mill Basin. They opened it up one day. It hasn't opened since.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
While we talk about designating the cartels, Marco, as a terrorist organization, I got to ask you, why wouldn't you guys designate the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE? I just, I look at these organizations. I have a mayor's race here in New York City with this psycho, this lunatic Mamdani. Both of those groups, are behind him, especially the Muslim Brotherhood. Is that something you think we can count on maybe in the near future? Maybe not CARE just yet, but certainly the Muslim Brotherhood?
Yeah, all of that is in the works, and obviously there are different branches of the Muslim Brotherhood, so you'd have to designate each one of them. But let me just tell you that there's a process, which I didn't fully appreciate till I came into this job, and I know people don't want to hear about processes, but because these things are going to be challenged in court, right? Any group can say, well, I'm not really a terrorist because that organization is not a terrorist organization. So you have to show the paperwork. You have to show your work like a math problem when you go before court. So we have to go through this process internally, where you have to do the review, you have to document and justify, what it is. You can know something is what it is, but you still got to go through it so that when someone comes back, as you've seen, they don't hesitate to go to court now. We are tied up in hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits of every kind. All you need is one federal judge, and there are plenty that are willing to do these nationwide injunctions and basically try to run the country from the bench. So we got to be so careful. But all of those things that you've just discussed, without getting into great detail because I can't yet, are in the process. We are constantly reviewing for groups to designate for what they are, supporters of terrorists, maybe terrorists themselves, whatever it may be. we haven't done this in a long time, so we got a lot of catch up to do. And you've mentioned, a couple names, particularly the Muslim Brotherhood, that are of great concern.
And I'm telling you that I've got stuff in my phone right now about that conversation I had with Rubio, from China to Ukraine, a ton of stuff in Australia. We had Tally Shine on this show yesterday. I mean, this stuff, the Arab nations upset about the Muslim Brotherhood conversation. This conversation went viral. Don't forget, that was Tuesday, so 2 days ago, and still, every hour, there are tons of these newspaper articles all over the country. MSNBC and OAN did stories on it yesterday. 2 days ago, Fox News had it. But that was an important question about the Muslim Brotherhood and, of course, CARE, because a lot of my friends, obviously, Siggy Flicker and all these people are Jewish. Dov Heikind, and we want to make sure that that is done. And Marco said we are in the works for getting it done. And according to my friend Lynn, the White House talked about it yesterday. Anyway, here's Miranda Devine, the best writer in the country, New York Post columnist. Good morning, Miranda. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. I'm really well and very impressed that you made news all over the world. That was big news. I think everyone's been hoping Muslim Brotherhood is awful, and everyone's been hoping that the U.S. government for many years would do that. And you broke the story on your show with Marco Rubio, which is amazing. I mean, I saw it blowing up yesterday. All sorts of foreign languages on my phone had the story. Yeah. Seriously, it's a big story. Jerusalem, Egypt, you name it. It's a big deal.
Thank you, Miranda. Coming from you, that means a lot. And yes, it was in Chinese and all these languages. He was on for 27 minutes, and we talked about just everything, every nation. And obviously, a lot of it was about this meeting coming up tomorrow. Everybody's talking about what they expect to happen. Trump said, listen, if this goes well, we'll do a second one, Zelensky. Rubio said to me, for what it's worth, that this is more of a feeling out meeting. That, look, Trump has already talked to Putin 4 times. Right? They have these phone calls. I've been over this before. They have these phone calls. They seem to agree, Putin and Trump. They hang up the phone and then Putin bombs Ukraine. Trump is like, what are you doing? So Rubio seems to think this is more of a feeling out call than necessarily a policy call. What does Miranda Devine think?
Yeah, I agree. And the White House has been calling it a listening exercise. And I thought it was really interesting what Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, said to you about the way Donald Trump works. And he's a guy who he's very like a superb deal maker, but he wants to see a guy in the eye. That's what he said. He has this instinct for deciphering human nature, is what those were the words that Marco Rubio used, which I thought was so insightful. That's what it is. You know, you can't really do all this on a phone call. And after all, Donald Trump's had numerous phone calls with Putin. Putin says, in Trump's words, he says all these nice things, and then he turns around and bombs a school. And Trump comes home and he says to the First Lady, and he says, I had a great conversation with Vladimir Putin. And Melania says, oh, really? He just bombed the crap out of a city in Ukraine. So Trump tells that story on himself kind of ruefully, that, you know, he's being played by Putin. And Donald Trump is not a person that you would want to play. So he said that within 2 minutes he will know if Putin's on the level and if he's really interested in ending this war, and he'll walk out. He's quite prepared to walk out. I'm sure he will. And I'm sure he will walk out, but I'm sure he will if Putin's not playing ball. Yeah. And, you know, I thought the other really interesting thing that Marco Rubio said that I haven't heard anyone else say, but Russia has a lot at stake here. In 1 month, last month, they lost 60,000 people.
Said that.
And that is just a hard thing to understand, considering this war has been going on since 2022. Big stakes, and, you know, Ukraine's fighting for its life.
You know, I almost wish you were sitting next to me to see my smile, because you just said 3 or 4 things that you would only know if you actually listened to the interview. I mean, so thank you, Miranda. God, I am so humbled and honored that you did. And talking about messing with Trump, your column, Bumbling Obama aides actually admit Russiagate was a smear campaign against Trump. So here's another example. They try to screw the president, all these animals, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Hillary, Barack. And now it's time to pay. So I had Greg Jarrett on yesterday, the brilliant legal mind at Fox News. I know you know him well. And I think a lot of people would love to see Hillary and Obama really pay more than the other guys. But at any rate, somebody's going to pay for this, yes?
Well, it certainly looks like that. It's not a sort of a sloppy, let's do an investigation and make lots of overblown claims and then nothing happens, which unfortunately we've been used to for the past sort of several years. But now it's criminal referrals to the DOJ. It's Pam Bondi setting together a strike force. And, greater legal minds than mine talk about there being not just potential charges on things like perjury, but actually charges for conspiracy, for criminal conspiracy, which, as John Ratcliffe said the other day, the criminal conspiracy continued through the Biden administration and it continues to this day because the cover-up of a conspiracy is itself a criminal conspiracy. So, they're already, we had James Clapper on MSNBC or CNN the other day saying he's had to lawyer up. I think there are some sleepless nights happening for these people. And there's even talk, there's no evidence for it, but people are talking about John Brennan escaping and trying to get citizenship in Ireland. And then I heard another report yesterday that he'd skipped to Austria. Both countries actually have extradition treaties. But anyway, I think that there is concern. And look, Mike Davis told me that even Barack Obama, who is covered by presidential immunity, which of course was tested when they were coming after Donald Trump with all manner of lawfare, he's not covered for anything any criminal conduct that he may allegedly have engaged in after his presidency. So that would include any potential cover up of this conspiracy, which began in the Oval Office on December 9, 2016, when he directed Clapper and Comey and Brennan to dodgy up this manufactured intelligence report saying that Donald Trump was basically only won the 2016 election because Putin intervened.
So nice, too, because I try to give you credit for this story a couple of weeks ago. You go, it was my colleague, Michael Goodwin. He did the Russia stuff. Yes, obviously I helped. I got involved, but it was really Mike with the Russia stuff. I was the Biden stuff, and I'm still thinking about that. Jim Comer and Jim Jordan, the whole crew over there, Nancy Mace. Here we have all this stuff on Biden, right? The big guy, your second book, that great book, The Big Guy. Folks, you got to read that. It's fantastic, okay? First book about the laptop from hell. That's great, too. So you got him and you got Uncle Jimmy over there and you got Hunter and you got all these scumbags that clearly made a ton of money from all these countries. But it just seems like Congress is close, but they're not there. So are you getting any indication that they will continue this, or is it over?
Close, but no cigar. Well, look, yeah. I don't know. I mean, the FBI, was talking about going after doing an investigation into the cocaine in the White House, which, I mean, it's interesting, but to me, that's really small beer. So I don't think, I mean, there's a limit to what Congress can do, unless you're Nancy Pelosi, in which you charge everyone with contempt and throw them in jail. Unfortunately, fortunately, probably, the Republicans aren't quite that unscrupulous. But I also, look, you have to be fair to the people in Congress. I think James Comer did a great job, but they were limited by the numbers. They had such tight numbers in Congress, and their committees Every Republican wants to have their moment in the spotlight, so the questions were never particularly good. And I think the Republicans also do have a problem with staff. They only have a handful of good staff that, can answer questions and do the hard grind behind the scenes, and they're not ruthless like the Democrat staff, which we're seeing now with all the revelations about Adam Schiff and the alleged leaking of definite leaking of classified information. Whether or not they can pin it on Schiff and his staff is another matter. But, there is certainly more evidence coming out that Schiff, there's a whistleblower that says that Adam Schiff, he was in a meeting and he was directing his staff to leak classified information that was damaging to Trump.
Wow.
Because this was not just Obama, Clapper, etc. They also had their congressional members like Adam Schiff also peddling this lie about Donald Trump and Russia. But also they had very willing media partners in the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, etc., who would just run without any due diligence, any old piece of crap that came out of these people's mouths. So it was a full-blown wall-to-wall conspiracy, and it was very successful.
What can I say, Miranda? You're the best. I love you. Great job, as always, on this show. I love watching you on Fox News. I love reading your columns in the New York Post. I love reading your books. You're just a treasure. Miranda Devine, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sid.
You're the best. Miranda, right there. Miranda Devine. We get Devine on every week now. That's a big deal. I love that. I like the consistent big-timers, like Bill O'Reilly coming up later on today, and Devine and Joe Tacopina. We get all these big guns, and all it does is make the show even better. We'll take a break. Noam's got the news, a lot going on out there. And then how about this 1-2 punch? Former governor and the most recent to endorse Eric Adams, my dear friend David Patterson, and then you get Bill O'Reilly.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Guess it was last week about this. I know you know this story. This really beautiful blonde girl, young lady. I think she was like 33. That's it. And they find her dead on a boat in Montauk. You know this story.
Yeah, this is a ritzy area of the Hamptons, and she's found on this boat. And, of course, it sets off just alarm across the Hamptons because they at first didn't really know what had happened to her.
Right. So now the rumor is drugs. So her parents are like fresh off the boat from Ireland. I think they still live in Ireland, but they come here to see her, And they're destroyed that they're making this young dead girl out to be some partying drug addict whore, And it's grotesque. The parents are saying maybe somebody drugged our daughter, put her on a boat, and did what they did. They don't know. They're heartbroken. So they reached out to Arthur Aidala, who happens to be filling in for Piscopo this morning. And he is not really on the case just yet. I know he's set to have lunch with this girl's mother and aunt today. And he's been talking to the family, trying to provide them with some support. I think Artie has spoken to my good friend Ray Tierney, the amazing district attorney, Suffolk County out there on Long Island, and other law enforcement. I know them all out there. You know that. Ray Tierney's a friend of mine, Lou Savello, my friend Mike Vandenberg. They're all my buddies, all of them. But this is a horrible story. And there are no answers right now. Now, Artie, who was in court yesterday for Harvey Weinstein, and is still talking to Ghislaine Maxwell. He's on the cover of today's New York Post, and he will join me in the 9 o'clock hour. I do want to send out a very happy birthday to one of my favorite listeners. His daughter, too, loves the show, Juliet. But Peter Golia. Peter! My man, have yourself a happy birthday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And feel better. Peter Golia, thank you so much. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and speak to the governor, the former governor, David Patterson, who I saw just 3 nights ago. We went to the Yankee game together. Our guy crew, Keith Kantrowitz and Anthony Carone and Mark Oranger and Michael Kemper and Andy Elpstein and the whole crew and the governor, David Patterson. So we enjoyed a Yankee game together Monday, and yesterday he went to City Hall where he endorsed Eric Adams. Just so you know, Patterson has endorsed everybody in the city for mayor. He's endorsed Adams twice. He's endorsed Cuomo. I think he endorsed Dinkins. I don't even know. But he was at City Hall yesterday, so we'll talk to the former great governor. He's a good friend of mine. I love him. David Patterson.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, you're my best friend.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
Governor David Patterson was with me Monday at the Yankee game, and yesterday he made big news again. Remember, he hosted that press conference right outside the studios, him and John Catsimatidis and the Judge Richard Weinberger. Now, I was not part of that. I was there in support, standing next to John Catsimatidis. That didn't stop that dick-faced, dickbag Errol Lewis from calling me a lowlife on New York One, but it was really Patterson's press conference. And now he comes out yesterday and he endorses Eric Adams again. Governor Patterson, how are you, pal?
Well, you're right. I endorsed Eric Adams in 2021, and I was intending to endorse him in the primary this year, but I realized, and I do not have a license to practice law in New York, but I did practice law under supervision in the Queen's DA's office years ago. And one thing we always knew, if you get indicted by the feds, you can kiss your family goodbye. You have a 5 to 10% chance of escaping that. But it happened to Eric Adams. And then, now he's running as an independent. I went ahead at that time feeling that Adams probably might not even be able to run this year. And I endorsed Andrew Cuomo, who governed the state for 11 years. He would know how to run the city. And I did it along with some others before the primary results came in. And they were so staggeringly shocking that I think it's really made it very difficult for the former governor to finish out this race in November. So now with Eric Adams with a clean slate and now running as an independent, and it isn't just, who you think is going to win. I've known him for 35 years, so he's a friend. I would be happy to endorse him even if I didn't think he had a chance.
Oh, you kind of gave it away just now. I mean, the latest poll has Eric at 7%. Eric is miles behind Curtis, and Curtis is miles behind Cuomo and mega miles behind Mamdani. Now, I'm sure you heard Mayor Eric Adams in the studio yesterday. It was a great conversation. He did very, very well. But if we're going to talk about this in realistic terms, he has now been polling last, ahead of Walden, but last for 6 consecutive polls. So he's your friend. I love the loyalty. You and I are great friends. But it sounded to me like you were admitting at the very end there that you don't think he's got much of a chance.
Well, listen, if I said anything other than that, you would have.
That's exactly what you said. Exactly what you said.
Yeah. And what it really is that one of the reasons I think he's in this position is he's looking for help in too many places. So, for instance, he vetoed the bill that would have the drivers yesterday, and the city council is going to probably try to override his veto there. So, in that respect, he was appealing to the business owners. Then he turns around later in the day and says that the immigrant who was a high school student who was making his checking in, for his immigration status, and he got whisked off and now is in a prison in Pennsylvania. He said that was wrong. And, of course, that would appeal to people who are trying to, fight the real crackdown on immigrants. So what's happening is you're asking people who have diametrically opposed political views to all support you at the same time. Now, that can work, and it did in 2021, because when Maya Wiley was running and the gentleman who thought, Andrew Yang, thought he had it sewed up, and the
the public, the business owners, the other elected officials weren't sure that any of them could govern the city. And Eric Adams comes along, and he's a police captain. He was a state senator. He's had a lot of different roles. That's how he was able to win then, because people who were diametrically opposed still thought that they'd be safer with him than the others.
You know what makes me happy, Governor, is here you are. How far are you removed from office? How many years are you out?
15.
You're out 15 years, okay? Out 15 years. You barely served because you got screwed. The bottom line is you got screwed. You would have been great. I'm telling you, it would have been great. They screwed you. You're out 15 years. And the fact that you are still regarded as a person of huge consequence, where you're out there endorsing Mayor Adams yesterday. Everybody I know wants to talk to you about every race. You're a big radio star at this station. I love that because I really believe you're one of the smartest and more decent people I've ever met. I'd love to see you run for office yourself one more time, maybe governor. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I like the fact that you're still involved because I really believe you would have been a great governor, and you got screwed. And not screwed like Elliot Spitzer, which was a lot better for him.
I'm sorry.
But you know what I'm saying.
I actually saw him last night.
You did?
I was at an event, and I saw him there.
So what happens when you see him? Do you guys joke around or not really?
Well, we actually do joke around. He, considering everything else that happened to him, he probably allowed me as lieutenant governor to be more active in more roles than what the other governors, lieutenant governors did, which was sit around, trying to figure out how to put sugar in his car engine or how to shoot down the governor's plane. That's all they did.
Yeah.
But I actually had work to do. I was doing work when they called and told me, you're going to be governor in an hour.
Hilarious. I tell you what's great, too, is this dynamic between you and Curtis. I mean, everybody knows, of course, that you're married to Curtis's ex-wife. And I love your wife. She's great. I'm serious. She's great. Danielle loves her. I love her. Beautiful lady, smart lady. And there's a little bit of tension between the two of you guys. I don't know. One of you sued each other. I don't know. But then last year, when Anthony was literally come up on with a bunch of people, kids looking to beat him up, you were with him at the time, and you sprung into action. It was like Daredevil. And you started beating up all these guys. And Curtis, to this day, says, I got to tell you, David Patterson, my father-in-law, he calls you, he said, he may have saved my son's life. Seriously, he's forever grateful for what you did. But now it's kind of like 9/11, right? And 9/11, people love the cops. And about a month later, same thing with Curtis. Am I right?
Well, Curtis has asked me not to endorse him because he figures that's his best chance to win.
He told that to my guy Jeff at Politico. He replayed it yesterday in Staten Island. Hey, Patterson, do me a favor, don't endorse me. But what is the real relationship between Patterson and Sliwa? And would you be happy if Curtis, in fact, regardless of what Adams does, edges out a victory?
Well, he and I got to know each other about 12 years ago on a unnamed radio station, and we used to sit in the window of the Penta Hotel, and what was funny, people would come by and give us the finger, but I thought they were waving, so I would wave back, and Curtis would tell me, stop doing that. They're telling us to go to hell.
That's funny. I can see you two guys doing that. So you guys started off as good friends.
Well, that was the first time I actually met him.
Yeah.
And, you throw two people in a room and ask them to do a show together. The thing that made it work is that we both love radio and that we could play off each other and, have fight over something and then, laugh over something. And even though no one was listening, or the people who were listening were outside giving us the finger, we still managed to get through that. And it really, the thing is, the problem with Curtis, as I see it, is organization. He tries to do everything himself. He goes to everything, but there comes a point you got to sit down and make phone calls and raise the money to run. And I don't think Curtis can sit in a chair without getting out of it for more than a half hour. And listen, I used to hate to call people for money. What I used to do is come in at 9 in the morning and call them all at the same time because none of them had gotten to work yet. And then when they start calling back, when someone calls you, you have to take the call.
Right.
But, actually saying, I'm going to call this person and ask them for $5,000. Yeah. It's not my thing. It's really no one's thing. But you've got to do it. And people like Andrew Cuomo are like, they have made a practice of it. They know how to do it.
Yeah.
You got to sort of pretend you're not yourself for a while.
Last night I was on Fox News with Scott LeBedo. I'm going to see him on Staten Island later on tonight. And Brian Kilmeade was filling in for Laura Ingraham, and he was kind enough to bring us on. And you know this, Gov, that nobody, Scott has. I'll include Scott. But no one has endorsed Curtis more than me for 6 years. Don't forget, I helped Curtis beat Mateo last time when he lost to Adams. 6 years on this show. No one's done more for Curtis in his political career than me. Nobody. But when I was asked a question last night, my honest opinion about who I thought was going to win today. This is today, right? We got a long way to go, thank God. We got till November. But today...
94 days.
Right, 94 days. But today, Mamdani wins. Now, I think Curtis will beat Cuomo and Adams. You may or may not. It doesn't matter. But I think today Mamdani wins, and all the Curtis supporters were all over me. You stabbed him in the back. You're single-handedly ruining his campaign. I go, what are you talking about? I think he's great. I've been behind him for 6 years. But there is a wild enthusiasm about this animal, this creep Mamdani, that no one can seem to match. Even Curtis, who has tons of enthusiasm himself. Is that an unfair statement?
No, it's not. And it's shocking because this guy has done this to other people who in the past have had huge followings. Governor Andrew Cuomo was elected governor 3 times. And you get, sometimes someone comes along and they kind of ignite a fire and you don't even know how it happened. And we've seen it in the past. But I don't know if I've seen it as dramatically, and I say this not in support, but just as you're doing it, as an objective viewer of this, how this guy got so many people behind him when I pointed out at the press conference yesterday that the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he campaigned exactly the same way that Mamdani did, and now the police department's out of money. The education department is cutting kids from school because they don't have the money to let them in. The issue with treating the homeless, everything in Chicago is in debt. They're appealing to the state for help, and the state is saying, hey, we didn't tell you to walk around and act like this. And the thing is, how can Mamdani see what's going on in Chicago and try to say that he's different? He's campaigning with the exact same playbook as the mayor of Chicago, who at least had the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say, hey, we messed this up. Now help us. Well, in New York, we don't want to mess something up. We don't want anyone to help us. We want to help ourselves.
Finally, this race for governor is a year away, but already talking about it, a lot of folks in this state want to see Kathy Hochul unseated. Elise Stefanik seems to be the best opportunity for the chance to do that. But I keep telling you, Governor Patterson, maybe you want to throw your hat into the ring. Is there any way Governor Patterson throws his hat in the ring again for governor?
If all the other candidates get out, I'll be happy to say, sir.
So that's a no, right? That's a no?
That's a no.
All right. So are you done?
Sid, I went to that press conference yesterday. It was 94 degrees. I've got a suit on like it's 54 degrees. And I'm standing there, and somebody said, do you think Andrew Cuomo should drop out of the race? No, they said, do you think Andrew Cuomo should drop out? I said, no, I think I should drop out because I'm exhausted.
So it's fair to assume at this point, Governor, that you're done, right? There's no more politics.
No, I want to stay at WABC with you and John and Rita and the the judge, and all the great people there.
It's a much better gig, right? You get to talk, you get to espouse your brilliant opinions, and don't have to deal with, the city council. Governor Patterson, great job. It was great seeing you Monday. Great having you on today. Thank you so much, as always. You're a terrific guy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sid. I don't know where you get your energy from, but we love listening to you.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Governor David Patterson right there, ladies and gentlemen, doing a great job. We'll take a quick break. Bill O'Reilly, the great Bill O'Reilly, coming up next.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
He has been the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best. You know, whether it's 9 p.m. weeknights right here on WABC or his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. Great interviews, great stories, great guests. Nobody better. He's 13 in the Killing series, and Evil coming out around Danielle's birthday, third week of September. I know that. And he does a great job on News Nation, too. Chris Cuomo has actually turned the corner for a lot of people. I don't buy it. I think he's still full of it, but he's turned the corner for a lot of people. He's the best ever, and he's brilliant on this show every Thursday. My man, Bill O'Reilly. Bill, good morning, buddy. How are you?
All right, that was Del Shannon singing that song, and I understand Mr. Shannon committed suicide. Did you know that?
I did not know that, no.
Yeah, after watching MSNBC, that was it. No, but, in all seriousness, I do believe the man committed suicide. Had a couple of hits, and that was it.
I can't believe MSNBC. I remember having this conversation with you. Right now, they're doing the countdown to Trump-Putin summit. But I know that, I don't know this. You told me that they're no longer part of the NBC family. But I really thought that Joe and Mika, they went to see Trump. Remember, Trump actually had him at Mar-a-Lago. I really thought that there'd be some sanity setting in. Now, Joe does exhibit that every now and then, but not often. But for the most part, between those two and Donnie Deutsch and Will Guess and Sharpton, that is still a very, very hateful morning show. Very hateful.
Yeah, I don't watch it, so I can't really comment on it. I know that operation, now that it's separating from NBC News and Comcast, is in absolute chaos, and their ratings are very low. Almost historically low. So you got to figure out that right now, the people that work there, they don't know what to do. So it hasn't worked. The hate Trump stuff and the progressive banner that they wave every day isn't working. And it's not going to work. There comes a time where if you're in sports or in politics or in business and you just fail continually, and you got to try something new. It's not going to work. And it's like the Pittsburgh Pirates. You're not winning the pennant anytime soon, pal. Okay, so either you get new management, invest in it, or you're going to be in last place every year. So that's, the business of television now, as you know, is on the skids. They can still make a little money, but NBC didn't want any part of them anymore, and that's why they did this separation deal, which is going to hurt them even further.
No, you're right. It is going to kill him, actually. CNN is also now just hammering Trump on going into...
Here's a problem with CNN. Their ratings are actually worse than MSNBC, which is hard to believe. So their primetime program maybe gets 500,000 people to watch it. You could put a chimpanzee on there for an hour, jump up and down, and you could probably get 1 million. Because the people go, I want to just check in on the chimp, see if he's okay. You just let the chimp jump up and down, and you'll get 1 million, all right? But these guys can't even get 500,000 to watch them. And the reason is that it is infuriating to see how the fix is in. And let me give you a good example of that. Their interviewers in prime time can be good. Once in a while, it can be good.
Oh, God.
But it's always directed at a Republican or Trump, the tough questions. Then they bring on the liberal side, the other side, and they sit there, like a mummy. They don't challenge. They don't say anything. And people, even the dimmest of us, figure, the fix is in here. This is not legitimate. And I I will, my opinion is that even people who are apathetic about politics, they don't want to be jacked around. You know, if you're going into a business or you're going into some and you know you're getting hosed, you know it's not honest, I'd say 90% of Americans just walk away, and that's what's happened over there.
They're promoting all morning long Mayor Bowser, who's one of the least trustworthy, most despicable politicians in the country, the mayor of Washington, D.C. They're promoting that she said we've got beautiful neighborhoods, which they do, and we're a great city. And what an evil, racist ogre President Trump is, because he's only bringing in the National Guard and all these groups to D.C. because he's racially profiled D.C. as a black town. And this is all racist. I mean, the amount of lies that the Democrats tell, Bill, I know you don't have to play the Republican-Democrat game. I do, okay? The amount of lies that they tell about everyday statistics, including crime in D.C., just to further their agenda is mind-boggling. Who does this Bowser woman think she's fooling?
You know, I think there's a little hidden camp somewhere, probably outside of San Francisco, where Bowser and Johnson of Chicago and the lady from L.A.
Karen
and Mamdani, they all meet. They're all the same. All of them are the same. Okay? Oh, we can't enforce the law because you got to get to the root causes, because you can't put them in jail because they had a hard childhood, and my God, they didn't get a school lunch, so I can go out and carjack because they didn't get the tuna sandwich. And I'm sitting here. If you know Washington, and I do, and my son is heading down there in a week or so to go to Georgetown, there are safe neighborhoods. But there are neighborhoods that are completely out of control, and Mayor Bowser cannot control them and doesn't want to. And these are the poor people in the district who are getting hammered. They're her people. They're people who vote for her. The inexplicable truth is that people vote against their own well-being. Anybody voting for Mamdani in New York is voting against your safety, against your prosperity. Your life will be much more miserable if this man is elected, yet you are voting for him. And that's called ignorance. That's what it is, okay? So anyway, I wish it was,
by the way, I wish it was just ignorance. There's so many other words you can throw in there. Hate, because
there is all of that.
Yes,
when it comes down to self-preservation, which is an instinct in every human being, you don't give power to people who are going to hurt you.
It's really that simple.
If you do, you're ignorant.
It's that simple. No, listen, you're right. And he will destroy this city beyond any recognition. Do you have, I know you get along very well with Curtis. He loves you, obviously. But now that you brought up the Mamdani thing, I was on Fox News last night with Scott LeBedo talking about this. You saw that? What are your thoughts on that race right now?
Well, it's undefined now because Adams can't continue. He's going to have to drop out. And the reason he's going to have to drop out is money, because he cannot afford to run into November. Because remember, he has got to pay for everything that he does. And the way this works is when people donate money to you, then you use the money to pay your bills. Well, he's not getting any money. He can't even get matching funds now. So therefore, the debts that he is going to incur are going to go on his personal sheet. He'll have to pay them out of his own pocket. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen, because I'm going to play this for you. This is the aforementioned Mayor Eric Adams in this studio yesterday talking about the possibility of him dropping out. Is there any chance? You're the incumbent, right?
Yes.
The polls are bad right now, but you said 5 weeks out. This is what I get every day, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm obligated to ask this.
Feel free.
Is there any chance before Election Day Mayor Eric Adams drops out?
I'm moving straight ahead. The voters will decide who's going to be the next mayor, and they're going to make a choice. They're going to want to make a choice. Do they want to empty out Rikers Island, 7,400 of the most dangerous prisoners coming onto our streets? Do they want someone that put terrible policies into our city that hurt our city? Do they want police officers not responding to domestic violence incidents, the most dangerous incident, one of the most dangerous incidents a police officer can respond on? So New Yorkers are going to have to make a choice. Do they want to continue to see the success that this city has shown, the complete turnaround that we have experienced, or do they want to go backwards? We've come too far to go backwards, and I think that New Yorkers are going to make that choice. Listen, I am extremely pleased on my role as a police officer, my role as a state senator, as a borough president, and I ran on working class people values when I ran for office, and I delivered on that. And I am pleased with that. And the voters will determine what is the next 4 years are going to look like in the city.
Who's going to be the next mayor of New York?
You said who will be?
Who will be?
Yeah, Eric Adams.
Okay. It doesn't sound to me, and again, I know it's only August, like that man who's getting money, he is getting money, real estate, all the real estate guys are giving it to Eric Adams now, not Cuomo. Doesn't sound like a guy that's ready to quit anytime soon.
That's because he believes what he wants to believe.
Okay.
You know, that answer was standard issue. I'm going to stay in for the time being because I'm hoping for a miracle, which is what it would be.
Yeah.
He's not going to win with the plurality that he's coming in with the polls, and I don't necessarily believe the Siena poll with Mamdani at 44%. But at this point, Adams is doing what they all do. All right, I did a great job. If Eric Adams did such a great job, he'd be polling at 45%. Right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be heartless here, but, we did a great job. We turned the city around. Everybody's happy. Well, you're polling at 17%.
7.
Or less.
Yeah, 7.
I mean, so there are stupid people, but not everybody's an idiot.
So do you see any scenario where my guy Curtis, your guy, Andrew, certainly not Eric, you just explained that, where anybody beats this guy?
Yeah, I do. I mean, because it's a very complicated, race, and Mamdani has the momentum because he has convinced younger voters and some minority voters that he's going to blow up the system. And we talked about this before, and there are a lot of New Yorkers who want the system just totally destroyed. They're not doing well. They can't afford to live in the city. They don't want to compete in the marketplace. They want to get handouts. And here's the guy promising all of that. I'm going to give it to you. So why don't you vote for me? And if there was another alternative that these people might consider, then Mamdani wouldn't be where he is in the polls. But again, I think the polls are overstating him. So the problem with Curtis is just voter registration. He's got no Republican machine behind him. He's got to do it all by himself. That's very, very difficult. Now, he is raising some money, and you said that Adams is raising some money. I'm telling you, Sid, this is what's going to force him out. He's not going to be able to do it. You know how expensive it is to buy WABC radio ads, to buy television ads in the city? And Adam's not going to have the money to do it.
Yeah.
Curtis might if he marshals his money to the last 6 weeks. And the other factor is that Cuomo, who has more experience than everybody, nobody trusts him. It's as simple as that. It's like CNN. They just don't trust him. His own people don't trust him because of all the things that he did to the state of New York, signing this insane no-bail stuff, COVID stuff. Nobody trusts him. So it's so fluid. There isn't any real momentum. I don't think Mamdani has momentum. And because if he did, he'd come in and interview with you or me and he just stays away.
He does.
He hides.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. And, it's working so far, but we've seen this come back to bite people in the ass, like Cuomo in the primary. So if I would have said to you years ago, when I came back to New York and They were writing about me. Oh, my God, that degenerate Sid. They didn't learn their lesson from WFAN. Why would ABC put a sports guy on talking to people like Bill O'Reilly? This will be, if it lasts 2 years, thank God Bernard is there to save his ass. All these things that I saw for years. And then me and Bernie would walk down to Bryant Park, Bill, and just a huge honor. You'd put us on your television show, and we'd rap about a whole bunch of stuff. And if I would have told you back then, that in a couple of years, above and beyond my 6 conversations with Trump, and you're closer with Trump than I am, that the Secretary of State would spend 27 minutes with me talking about every major issue around the world, and over 83 countries would have it in their newspapers the very next morning, you would have said what?
Well, I would have said nothing because I didn't really know you that well back then, and I knew you were as a broadcaster, but not as a person. And you're obviously a talented broadcaster. But your ascension is another example of why America is the greatest country on earth. That you can make mistakes, that you can fault. That's a good word. But if you pick yourself back up and you use your God-given talent, which is what you have, then you can rise again. We believe in redemption here in this country. Not everybody, but most of us do. And that's what happened. Now, on the Rubio interview, the problem with interviewing Rubio is that he can't tell you the truth.
I knew you were going to. How did I know you were going to say that? I know it.
But it's not that he's a deceiver.
No.
He's not deceiving you, okay? But there are things that go on, and I know what these things are, okay, in every administration, where the public just doesn't know it because it can't be known. So, for example, when Trump goes in to talk to Putin tomorrow, Trump has got an agenda, all right? He has got A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, but he is not going to tell you that. And Rubio is not going to tell you what Trump is going to do to the cartels or what is going to happen in Gaza. All of these things are kept very, very secret because there's no gain for these people to put it out in the public unless they're ready to roll. And so I've interviewed every politician in the world. All right, I'm not going to get, and I'm the toughest of the tough, as you know, okay? But I'll call them on it. I will call them on it, like I did with Obama on the Muslim Brotherhood. I'll say, I don't think you're looking at this in a realistic way. You'll get that from me. And most other interviews you won't because the people won't come back. I got this thing with John Bolton. Have you followed this going on this week?
What, the John Bolton thing? Which thing?
So, John Bolton, John Bolton,
yes.
The former ambassador.
The ultimate war hawk. He makes Lindsey Graham look like a little wussy.
Well, of course he's ripping Trump up.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Just ripping him up just for sitting down with Putin.
But what does he want to do? What does he want Trump to drop a bomb in Moscow?
That's right. So I go on News Nation. I just lay him out. I said, look, he wants Trump to fail, and by extension wants the United States to fail.
That's right.
And he wants the death toll in Ukraine to continue to mount. And how can I say that? Because he has no other alternative. So last night he shows up because we made a big deal out of it and said he wouldn't come on with me, and he won't. And he was on Leland Vittert on News Nation, and he says, I'm not going to debate O'Reilly and get down in the gutter. Okay.
He said that?
Yeah, absolutely said it. Okay. He's not going to debate me because he's afraid to debate me. There's no gutter. I'll go to a cornfield with you, Mr. Ambassador, whatever you want to do. Okay? And then he says, this is the capper, because Vittert was pretty tough on him. Vittert said, well, wait, you're undermining Trump. Absolutely is what he's doing. You're undermining this before it happens. When thousands of people are dying every week in Ukraine, and you don't have a plan B. You have nothing, which is exactly what O'Reilly said. You know what Bolton said? Well, my plan is to arm Ukraine so they'll defeat Russia. That's like saying Albania is going to defeat China.
Right. I've had these conversations with Peter King. He stopped talking to me literally months ago. I haven't spoken to Peter King in months because they can't win. They can't win. They can't win, right? They can't win. The best they can do is maybe lose a couple less people. That's the best they can do. That's it.
Well, but the fact of the matter is, Bolton knows they can't win.
Of course he does.
Everybody knows that Ukraine cannot defeat Russia in a war, a shoot war.
Right.
All Ukraine can do is make it very painful, which they have done for 3 years.
To their credit.
Russia to encroach.
Right.
So you do arm them. That is the right strategy. But what Trump is going to do is drop an economic bomb on Putin's head if he doesn't cooperate.
Love it.
And this is what Bolton is undermining.
Yep.
And when you undermine your chief executive who's involved in the summit, you're undermining your country. Not to even mention Ukraine.
Yep.
Everybody should be hoping that Donald Trump gets a deal with Putin.
Of course.
Right? Am I right?
You're 1,000.
Everybody, even if you hate Trump's guts.
Yes.
Right. You don't root against him and against your own country. That's exactly what Bolton is doing. And not just Bolton. All the clowns on MSNBC, most of the people on CNN, they're all in that they cannot get out of the hate Trump mindset, no matter how much destruction is caused. Muriel Bowser? Who would oppose more safety for the citizens of Washington, D.C.? Who would oppose that? So what? Crime going down? Fine. There's still people getting hurt every day.
That's right.
If you can diminish that, you support it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it seems common sense to me. The numbers are down from astronomical to just really, really disturbing. I mean, congratulations.
It's just people, but the media won't call them out. You call them out, and I call them out, and that's why we're successful.
Bill O'Reilly, I love you. What can I tell you? 22 minutes of radio gold. That was gold. John Bolton's an idiot. Just, Bill, you're great. Thank you again. And we'll do it again very, very soon. Thank you, buddy.
All right. We'll try to get Bolton on tomorrow.
I will.
He'll dodge you. I guarantee he'll dodge you.
I'm going to try. His best friend is Rich Lowry. You know Rich very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to get Bolton on.
Get Rich and Bolton. Have Rich hold his hand.
All right, I'm going to try. I'll let you know, okay?
Yep.
All right,
Thanks
Bill.
for having me, Sid.
Come on, you were great. You're always great. You're always great, Bill O'Reilly. We love you. We love you a lot. We'll take a short break. Noam's got the news. More to do before I hand it off to Brian Kilmeade.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend. Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Brian Kilmeade filled in, and he had me on with Scott Lebedo, and Lebedo was great. He was great. And I'm going to see Scott Lebedo later on tonight with Curtis and Frank and all those great Staten Islanders. So we're on together talking about this mayor's race. And at the very end, I called Mamdani an animal. That's why we played Animal by Def Leppard to start the show. So according to Mediaite, WABC morning show controversial conservative radio host dehumanized Mamdani. I dehumanized him, no.
How dare you?
Yeah. Which I was all too happy to do, and I'll do it every day. I mean, I can't stand the guy. He's disgusting. He hates Jewish people. He hates cops. He hates this city. He hates this country. He hates Trump. So, sorry, what is it called, that website?
Mediaite. What is your...
Yeah. I want Mediaite to put up a new headline from Sid Rosenberg.
Stand by.
It's just 2 words.
Okay. Let me try see if I can get the initials.
BM.
BM. I was just about to say it.
BM. Let me see.
You know it? Did you know it?
He's a big news guy. He'll get it.
Yeah. There was an old... I'll give you a hint, Noam. He actually played third base for the Yankees many years ago. And his name was Phil Lacio.
What?
Blow me. I'll be back.
Yeah, we knew it.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
Who's on tomorrow, Justin? What a great week we've had. Who's on tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, jam-packed, baby. Oh, let's see.
Joe Tacopino.
You got a good 7 o'clock hour here. Alan Dershowitz coming up. KT McFarland, second appearance this week.
Yeah.
For a weekly Friday appearance. Joe Tacopino will be joining the program tomorrow.
I like that.
And literally anybody else you want.
Anybody else, okay. You know, I reached out to Eric and Donald Trump Jr. Those guys were here yesterday with, I said it was Alex Witkoff. I was wrong. It was Zach Witkoff, another one of Steve's kids. So it was Eric Jr. and Zach Witkoff on Fox News talking about some digital thing. You know about this, knowing where the Trumps are going to make like another $1 billion or something? I don't know.
Yeah. So they paused the cell phone thing for a while.
Oh, they paused it?
Yeah, because
there's no Trump Mobile right now?
Well, there will be, but it's not going to happen right away. I think it was part of the deal that the president made with Apple to bring Apple to do some manufacturing back here in the U.S.
Kentucky specifically.
Yeah.
Well, the glass is being made in Kentucky. So they're delaying Trump Mobile until Apple is all set in the United States?
I don't know for sure, but I know it's been delayed, yeah.
Wow. So what if I'm curious, Donald Trump Jr. came on this show after that epic 6 a.m. press conference with Eric at Trump Tower. It was very good. He was on for a good 15 minutes. He talked about all these great things Trump Mobile gets. You even said to him, all right, I'm done with T-Mobile. That's it. I'm going to Trump Mobile. What if you that day, and many people did this, that day took on Trump Mobile? Where are you right now?
Good question.
Yeah. Well, see if you can, I have to book him. What am I talking about? So
yeah, you can just ask him.
Well, they got to get back to me.
Well, I'm sure
they're not great at that.
Some good explanation as to what.
I thought that's what I had read, was that they were pausing it for a bit as the negotiations were worked out with Apple.
Right. So I'm sure that those people that purchased it on that first day, there's got to be some sort of contingency plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't know.
You were able to purchase first day? Yeah.
I think you were. I think they were. I think Donald Trump Jr. was even like sending people to a website or something.
I don't remember that.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, it was a long time ago.
It was?
No, it was like 2 months ago.
No, it's funny. 2 months in this news cycle is like 20 years. You say it's a long time ago. It was not a long time ago. But in this news cycle, it's impossible. Every day, a whole bunch of stuff happens. You know? Like today, for example. What's happened, I know.
Well, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that kind of changed things a little bit.
Nothing's happened today, I guess. Yeah. Somebody said to me yesterday, they said, I just started listening to your show. And the person said, you've got a great voice. I don't believe that's true. I think Noam has a great voice. I don't think I've got a great voice, but you got a great voice. And I love when you're talking about music with Lou, and I love all that stuff. The person said it's a very interesting show. There's nothing like it. But the person said, what's the big story besides the mayor's race? And, for a while there, I was getting bludgeoned by people for talking about Israel too much. Remember that? Yeah. Too much Israel. Now, there's Trump and Putin tomorrow, and Rubio was on, which was a big deal, talking about every other country around the world. But it does seem like, with the mayoral election coming up in November, that is the majority of talk on this station, and it's local, so it makes sense, right? I mean, let's be honest. What's going to be more important? Who wins the mayor's race in November or Trump Putin tomorrow? So it makes sense, but it does seem like the overwhelming majority of conversation on this station is the mayor's race. So I get a guy yesterday. I don't know who the guy is. All these people do the same thing. They all criticize me, but they all start with this. Sid, I love you. But.
Of course.
Swear to God.
Of course.
Instant messages, direct messages, text, Twitter.
That's how it gets you to read it.
And then I block them. So like whoever you are, Paul Sesti, whoever you are, Susan Harris, Facebook, you're about to get blocked. Sid, I love you, but. It ain't going to help you. Sid, I love you. It's not going to help you, okay? And, they complain that I don't pick Sliwa to win every day, even though I've endorsed them, And they complain about a variety of issues, which which annoys me. And now they complain about that, So some guy complained yesterday. He goes, why do you talk sports? He goes, the majority of us don't give a rat's ass about sports. We hate sports. And this goes back to Colin Kaepernick, that idiot taking a knee to the national anthem. This goes back to all the ball players that say horrible things about President Trump. You know that, Norman Lou. This is all about politics. How many people do you know? They go, I used to watch this league or that team or that player, but I can't do it anymore. I'm done with sports because politically they don't align. Let me explain something to you, dummy. First of all, sports is huge in this town. And any morning show that is lengthy like this one, 4 hours, that does not cover sports, doesn't cover New York. Is that a fair statement? No.
Yeah, look, they're the same thing, sports and politics. You pick somebody to root for. You root against somebody you hate. It's kind of one and the same.
And people always say to me, it seems so seamless, the transition you made from sports to politics. And to Noam's point, it is the same thing, right? I replaced the Giants with Trump. That's all. I replaced the Eagles with Biden. So it is the same thing. You've got great passion for the team or the politician you love, and you despise the other guys. Like the hate I had for the Islanders and the Yankees, that's Hochul. That's Hochul.
Do not put her name if the Islanders.
I'm sorry
in the
about
same
that, though. Yeah,
sorry. And that's not fair. That's
I'm
not
sorry.
Right. No.
She's worse. She's worse.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you that.
But sports is big in the world. Look
right.
at all the money.
So what you people have to understand is it doesn't matter what you like or don't like. Lou's laughing. I'm not doing the show for you. I'm doing the show for the masses. I have a sports background. I'm one of the greatest WFAN radio hosts in the history of that station. I'm not Mike and the Mad Dog, but I'm not far behind him. People know they can trust me when I'm talking sports. I'm not just some guy who occasionally watches a game. And they love that about this show. I was at the Yankee game Monday night. I'll be at a ton of football games. So, sir, whoever you are, I don't care whether you like sports or not. Shut it off. Go jerk yourself off and come back after, okay? Stop telling me what you like and you don't like as if I care. I don't care. I'm doing the show for the masses. In July, the ratings for July for this show were crushing. Bill O'Reilly talks about the station, but specifically this show all the time. He's been around for 50 years. He's been doing radio forever. He's always talking about Sid's ratings. You don't know more than I do. You don't. And if you don't like something, you're entitled. It's okay. But I'm doing the show for the masses. And when the ratings plunge, and I'm 15th in the city, like I used to be, when I got here, we were 22nd. I think the highest Bernie and I ever got was 8th, maybe 10th. When the ratings start to plunge, then we'll have that conversation. But for now, sit down, shut up, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, BM.
And BM, that's right. I'll come back and wrap things up right after this.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?